Don't lie to these people, haven't. Lying, nobody likes a liar. Yeah, Soyuz would probably be the only other one. Soyuz in progress. That face when there's never been 3 shuttles in space. There's never been 2 shuttles in space. And Jonas, that right there shows like the losses that you could have done. Like that shows the potential of the shuttle program. Can you imagine having 2 shuttles in space? Like, what are you going to need to do that? I don't know. It looks exactly like this. Let me see. Yeah, nice car. All right. Anyway. Yeah, Train Man. Yeah, interesting. All right. Anyway, guys, I'll be back in a second. We'll start up space news here and the Inspiration4 interview. Here, EJ Space and Rocket review. Switch over to science and technology. And I'll be back in a moment, in a fagizzy. In 10 fagizzis.
3. Go and throttle up.
Alrighty. Let's get going here. Okay, so we got space news. The biggest space news right now is that tomorrow, Inspiration4 will launch. This marks the first all-commercial, all-civilian space flight. They'll be launching on a SpaceX Falcon 9 with a Dragon 2 capsule. That Dragon 2 capsule previously was used on the Crew 1 mission, so it's Dragon Resilience. And that mission is scheduled to go off tomorrow, but we do have a press conference with the 4 Inspiration4 members, Jared Isaacman, Haley Arsenault, Kristen Brodsky, and Cyan Proctor here in about 30 minutes. So we're going to watch that and see what's going on with the Q&A there. A lot of cool stuff to learn from this mission. The Inspiration4, amongst other things, is going to be a pretty big mission to fly. The reason why it's going to be a big mission to fly it's going to set a lot of records, and that's kind of on purpose, because the purpose, obviously, as the namesake of the mission, is to inspire, right? It'll mark the first time, not the first time. It'll mark the highest orbit that humans have been in since 1972. This thing is going to a 590 kilometer circular orbit at 51 degrees inclined, that's a big orbit. That's higher than the Hubble Space Telescope. That's higher than the ISS by a pretty significant margin. So once again, this will be the furthest that humans have gone into space since Apollo 17, and it will mark a pretty big kind of, not a pretty big stride, but a stride in the right direction to get us to push further, which is something that the Jared Isaacman and Elon Musk see eye to eye on, from what I understand. So yeah, actually pretty good stuff. Jared Isaacman is kind of the whole kind of inspiration, or the whole kind of, he's the guy behind the Inspiration4 mission. He's the commander of that Dragon capsule that's going to fly up. And he shares a lot of the same feelings about making life multiplanetary that SpaceX does. So that's why they're launching on a SpaceX capsule. Once again, first all civilian, all total commercial crew launch tomorrow. We do have a press interview in about 30 minutes, but yeah, that's a big one. That's a big one here. Today they released the flight patch for it. Here, if you guys want to check this out, take a look. Yeah, also the first time 3 Dragons will be in space at the same time. 3 reused Dragons, Phil. Reused Dragons. Yeah, unbelievable. Not only are there's 2 Dragons up at the ISS right now. No, not that picture. That one. There's 2 up at the ISS. This one was reused, and that one was reused. So this will mark not only 3 SpaceX capsules up in space, but 3 reused SpaceX capsules up in space, which is pretty crazy. You know what sucks, Royally? The Inspiration4 episodes on Netflix aren't available in my country. I had to put on an eye patch, host the Jolly Roger, and pretend it's 2008 to watch it. Ew. Why the heck would they geo-lock that? That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Yeah, hang on. My buddy's texting me about Norm Macdonald. How many do they have total? I think there's 2 Dragons in processing down on the ground right now, QQ. There's one for the Crew 3 mission, and then there's another one for the CRS-24 mission, I think. Draco thrusters. Speaking of being in space at the time, what was in space with Columbia when it crashed? The ISS? I remember someone talking about they could have docked it to something else. No, they couldn't. How? Columbia didn't have a docking port on it. The payload bay wasn't configured for docking, Pilch. It had no docking port. No. Can I ask a stupid question? See what's on your mind. Orbital velocity depends on altitude, or does it have a fixed value? No, it depends on a lot of different things. If you're in a circular orbit, then orbital velocity is correlative to altitude, because your altitude and your velocity won't change. If you're in an eccentric orbit, so your orbit is elliptical, then, oh yeah, no, yeah, those get completely out of whack. Velocity, yeah, you're not at a constant velocity because you're constantly speeding up and slowing down and speeding up and slowing down and speeding up and slowing down and speeding up and slowing down. So, yeah, no, not correlative at all. Altitude and velocity are correlative when we're talking about circular orbits or orbits that have zero eccentricity. But even then, on Earth, like the ISS, for instance, is in a more or less circular orbit. The orbit is always decaying on the ISS because of aerodynamic perturbations. Basically, the ISS is still skirting the atmosphere to an extent, and that does cause a little bit of atmospheric drag. That will bring it down unless we boost it, and the Russians boost it with a Progress capsule. Yep. So, yeah, I mean, it really depends. They're not necessarily correlated to each other because of the different variables. Certain orbital variables, right, would make them correlative to each other, but other ones don't. All right, so yeah, check that out. This is a picture from Thomas Pesquet from the EVA yesterday of 2 Dragon capsules. That one's crew. That one is cargo. Yeah, because it doesn't have the wing. Yeah, Scary. See, look at what Scary linked up in chat. What's up, Mr. Coggers? What's up, Smirks? Man, look at this thing. I love how clean everything is up in space. It's very clean. Very clean up there. Like all these nice milled parts. Very nice. Very nice. Okay. So, in other news here, we have NRC Quest and the Of Course I Still Love You drone ship making their way downtown. No, they're making their way back to Long Beach, back to Port of Long Beach, with 1049.10. The second Falcon 9 booster to hit 10 flights. That was the landing from last night on the Starlink 30 mission. So Starlink 2.1, basically. Second round of upgraded, or first round of upgraded Starlink satellites heading back to Port of Long Beach. Yep. And the first recovery out on the West Coast in a good while. First drone ship landing out there in a long time. But yeah. Wouldn't be surprised if CRS-24 mission uses the CRS-22 Dragon. Dragon 2 is only certified for 5 flights, and there are only 8 to 10 flights left in this contract, so True Dragons can support all of them. Thomas, yeah, they have two cargo dragons and, 3 crew dragons. And that's it. Hey, Sneaky. Hot take. I'm way more excited for Inspiration4 than I was for Demo 2. It's really going to be an awesome mission, Scary. It's going to be cool. I hope that we get more onboards and more in-camera stuff, because usually the reason why we don't get so much in-cameras during the missions is because of NASA, right? So hopefully we do get some good stuff. But yeah, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be so fun. Yeah, I need an onboard view through the cupola injected into my veins. Yeah, absolutely. All right, so in other news here, this one's coming from Mike Sheets. This thing made its way down through the press site this afternoon. That right there is a Falcon Heavy booster, Falcon Heavy side booster. This one is being donated to a company called Delaware North. If you guys don't know what Delaware North is, here, let me put it to you in a way that you'll understand a little bit better. Delaware North is the company that runs Kennedy Space Center Visitor Complex. They're building a new facility down there to house a Falcon Heavy side booster at the Visitor Complex. Yeah, hey. Yep. Here, we should have other pictures there. So this thing was making its way past the VAB on the Kometo that we keep talking about. That's the transporter that we see that thing? The Cometo, the thing that's moving the Falcon 9, that one is the one we saw Enterprise move when we saw Enterprise moving around at Vandenberg. Same vehicle, same truck, 30 years later, which is really freaking cool. This booster will be, here, if we go over, this booster will be on display for everybody to be able to see it. This booster will be available for everybody to see at Kennedy Space Center Visitor Center. Here, take a look. This is a picture from Vulcan. The guy that watches the chat here. There's the Delta II that they just put up. There's the Saturn 1B. And if you look a little bit closer, check it out. Those are the rat bastards that claim they own the name and rights to Yosemite National Park. They are dead to you. Oh. I don't know anything about that, dude. Yeah, that's strange. All right, so here, check this out. Here, don't forget about that part. Look at this part. Leaning tower at Tycom 8 right there. Yep. Pretty crazy. Next launch out of 39A after Inspiration4 should be another Falcon Heavy. The USS F-44 mission. Yep. There you go. Pretty cool. The Cometo. I love that little Cometo is doing, well, it's not little. That thing has been around for so long, dude. Unbelievable. That footage is coming from Joey Roulette right there. Let's see. Hey, T-38s. Do you want an old meme? This building will be for modern spaceflight. Alright, let's take a look. Do you want old meme? Sure. That's right, Sneaky. Confirmed from KSC staff, the SpaceX Falcon Heavy side booster will be on permanent display in this building, not outside. It's inside the building now. The theme of this building is modern spaceflight and shall display pieces from ULA, Blue Origin, and obviously SpaceX. Pretty awesome. Are those actual Merlins? It looks like that's the real one, yeah. Those look like the ones that it came with. Or that it landed with. Tom has actually brought that up. I watched this booster land. I screamed at this booster when it landed it. I watched this booster land when we were down there at the Falcon Heavy test flight. That's one of the test flight boosters. Tycom 8. And then before that it was the Tycom 8 booster. Yeah, pretty awesome. Inspiration4 is going to use the tracking data and relay system. Oh, let's take a look. This is coming from Brendan Byrne. Let's see. To support Inspiration4, SpaceX is paying NASA around $1 million for mission support across multiple centers. This is authorized under the Space Act Agreements, SAA, and Commercial Space Launch Agreements. Support for Inspiration4 is on a fully reimbursable and non-interference basis, using Space Act Agreements and Commercial Space Launch Agreements. Integrated communications support among ground control sites and between the ground and space through the Near Space Network, which is TDRS, including space relay services using the tracking data and relay system, RSAA, between Goddard and SpaceX. Cool. Through the Commercial Space Launch Act, providing support at Kennedy Space Center, including pad rescue team support, propellants, pressurists, hypergolic fuels, equipment, life support equipment, environmental health, unmanned aircraft, imagery, launch day helicopter surveillance support, contingency readiness for emergency operations, and fire rescue support, and then guest operations. Cool. Cool. Yep, basically, it'll, for the most part, around Kennedy be treated like a regular NASA launch, except no NASA astronauts. Canberra Cam, maybe. All right. So while we're on the subject of Inspiration4, I think you guys would probably want to see this. This is coming from the commander of the mission, Jared Isaacman, or Rook. He says, going to be hard to top this photo flight with the old BDJT gang and my Inspiration4 friends around LC-39A with Falcon and Dragon ready to fly. We know how lucky we are and we'll use every bit of our time on orbit to give back. Hey, Blackbird, 17-month resub. Does he own all of these? Yep. Yep. You ever thought anybody would ever see the day when a Soviet trainer jet would be flying around 39As for photo ops? Those are L-39s, guys. That's a Soviet fighter plane, or it's a trainer. These ones are European. They're a European trainer jet. Artemis 3 pressure vessel welding is done. Ooh, yeah, Novus. We linked this the other day. Yeah, I'm ready, dude. Actually, Novus, there was a guy that was watching a little bit earlier that works out of JSC. He was watching the stream the other day, and I was talking to him, and I told him how I rated NTRS to get ships to fly correctly in Kerbal, and the guy was like, "What? You did what?" I'm like, "Yeah, I rated NTRS so we could figure out how it flew," and he's like, "Have you worked for NASA before?" I'm like, "No." Yeah, the L-39s are Czech, that's right, but Soviet trainer jet. Interesting. Lander news. NASA selects 5 companies to mature Artemis lander concepts. What? Huh. Still, really nice pictures nonetheless. Also, this building right here is where they suit up. They're not using NASA's, they're not using operations and checkout. That's where they're suiting up, in this building right here. You'd be good at working at NASA. I would love to, man. I don't know. I wouldn't even know where to begin there, though. Well, that's not entirely true anymore now, is it? But that means I wouldn't be able to stream as much. Anyway, we'll be looking at the Inspiration4 press conference momentarily. Let's check out what's going on here. That Starship pad project progress seems to be halted. Yeah, Vasya, they have not worked on that thing in a very long time. That thing has been, that flame deflector has been sitting there, and that's the old Starship pad. That one is like a pad with a flame deflector under it in twin service towers. That's the old Starship. This is before they realized that they wanted to do the catcher arms and stuff. Yeah, they haven't worked on that in a very long time. Yeah, construction is completely halted. Still a really good picture. I love how everybody in the picture is looking. Everyone in the picture is looking at 39A. You can all see that all the pilots have and the co-pilots have their heads turned. They're all looking at the pad. That's awesome. That's a pretty tight formation for civilians, though, guys. That's pretty good. Have you read about Waz's Space Company? Heard about it, got a snipple, but I haven't read about it yet. Waz is cool, man. Dude, if he's throwing his hat into the ring, man, that'd be pretty fun. Yeah, actually, that guy is looking at the lead. That guy's looking at the lead. Yeah, that's right. That's right. All the co-pilots all the people that are riding second seat are looking at the pad. Everybody else is focusing on the formation flying. You're right. You're right. Yep, guy at the bottom is watching the #1 plane. Are those L-39s? They are. Pretty cool paint job, too. Yeah, this is really, 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 really good flying. All right, so let's check out that NASA contract. Let's see. NASA selects 5 U.S. companies to mature Artemis lander concepts. BOF, Dynetics, which is a lighthouse company, guys. I don't know if you knew that. Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, SpaceX. What is this? Okay. I'm going to read here. We're going to go into reading mode. NASA has selected 5 U.S. companies to help the agency enable a steady pace of crewed trips to the lunar surface under the agency's Artemis program. These companies will make advancements towards sustainable human landing system concepts, conduct risk reduction activities, and provide feedback on NASA's requirements to cultivate industry capabilities for crewed lunar landing missions. The awards under the Next Step 2, Next Space Technologies for Exploration Partnerships Program, Appendix N, Broad agency announcement are firm, fixed-price, milestone-based contracts. The total combined value for the award is $146 million, and the work will be conducted over the next 15 months. The companies that received awards are as follows: Blue Origin, Dynetics, a lighthouse company; Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, SpaceX. Okay. Establishing a long-term presence on the moon through recurring services using lunar landers is a major Artemis goal, says Kathy Leaders, NASA's Associate Administrator for Human Exploration Operations at headquarters in Washington. Kathy Leaders runs the crew space program for NASA. Yeah, anything that has to do with launching people into space, she's in on it. She runs it, actually. This critical step lays the foundation for U.S. leadership in learning more about the moon and for learning how to live and work in deep space for future missions further into the solar system. The selected companies will develop lander concepts evaluating their performance design and construction standards, mission assurance requirements, interfaces, safety, crew health accommodations, and medical capabilities. The companies will also mitigate lunar landing risk by conducting critical component tests and advancing the maturity of key technologies. The work from these companies will ultimately help shape the strategy and requirements for a future NASA solicitation to provide regular astronaut transportation to from lunar orbit to the surface of the moon. Collaboration with our partners is critical to achieving NASA's long-term Artemis goals. By partnering with innovative U.S. companies, we will establish a robust lunar economy while exploring new areas for the moon for generations to come. This opportunity is distinct from the initial crew lunar landing demonstration mission awarded under the Next Step 2 Appendix N procurement, which will serve as the proof of concept for the Artemis architecture. NASA's goals under Artemis include enabling a safe, cost-efficient, and long-term... Okay, that's just fluff. Interesting. It seems like everybody is working on their own lander now. These Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, and Blue Origin were all working on the national team's lander, and now they're all being paid to develop individual landers. Told you the national team is dying a long time ago. Yeah, that's good, because you know I love people saying I told you so all the time. Forge, thanks for that. And also, you had literally no way to prove that until this happened. And you know how I feel also about speculation. Whammy. Bof means meh in French. SpaceX is so affordable. Yeah. I mean, economies of scale is absolutely a thing, Forlorn. And SpaceX still seems the best value. Well, hold on a second here. So what effect is this for the HLS originally awarded to SpaceX? This isn't... So, look, this is for proofs of concept. Like, wait, why would they award 9.4 million to SpaceX? I don't understand. These companies will make advances towards sustainable landing system concepts, conduct risk reduction activities, and provide feedback on NASA's requirements to cultivate industry capabilities for crewed lunar landing missions. Oh, I did, Draco. I forgot that Dynetics was a Leidos company. Thank you. Thank you. PowerPoint money. Quite literally. Yeah. People need to realize SpaceX is only the best value because they are assuming most of the financial risk. Of course. Yeah, that's another 10 million towards lunar Starship R&D, which is good. That'll definitely get the ball rolling over there. Interesting. I wonder. See, since the national team is apparently not a thing anymore, and this is some pretty damn concrete evidence to say that that's what's going on. Yeah, no, Forge. Those are two different things. Yeah, right. Well, we know Lockheed Martin's rolling around with the MADV, which is not a bad idea. If I understand this right, SpaceX is already getting funding by HLS, so NASA is giving more money to the other providers to develop new landers for LATS. Yep. Lockheed's working on the MADV. This is basically a Centaur stage with an arrow shell around it. MADV is cool, but I don't know how it gets to space. Any questions? It looks like a shuttle. Yep. That looks bad? What are you, crazy? Oh, no, that looks amazing, dude. You'd be nuts to not want this. MADV is a great idea. If this actually happens, it would be pretty good. Center of pressure should be interesting. I don't think it's going to be... I think it's going to be negligible. The SRBs lower that center of pressure enough to counter it. I need MADV like right now. Is MADV back on the table? Well, it certainly seems that way. Yes, look at this. So there's an award for under Next Step 2 Appendix N, which is the Lunar Exploration Transport Program. It's basically COTS for landers for the moon, Commercial Orbital Transport Services. So Blue Origin got something. Dynetics, which is a Leidos company, got something. And Lockheed Martin and Northrop Grumman got something too. But, like as Forge was saying a little bit earlier, dude, nothing. They're all separate. There's no national team here. Very interesting. And then Forge actually, to be fair, Forge is the one that did point this out. If you go on Lockheed Martin's website, you go to Basecamp. Basecamp's, they started showing it off again. Word. SPAC. So they started showing off their stuff again. Where is it? Yeah, here we go. Forge, you got it. So check this out. So MADV might be back on the table from what I understand. Yeah, they posted this 2 weeks ago. And I didn't think anything of it at the time, but... So, okay, guys, MADV is very interesting. It's a Mars ascent and descent vehicle. And clearly that's it on the moon right there. What this thing basically is a Centaur. It's a 5-meter Centaur. So, like what ULA is making. It's a 5-meter Centaur stage with a payload bay and crew quarters inside. It is designed for Martian ascent and descent. And yes, it lands like Starship. That's the idea. I like that they have a moon rail. I agree. I don't ever remember them showing the lunar variant prior, Scary. You telling me that thing is powered by RL-10s? Yep. MADV is cool. It's another Starship-esque vehicle. But believe it or not, MADV has been around for a little while. But we saw it go away when the national team kind of came into the fold here. Yeah, check it out. It's essentially a Centaur stage. I mean, it's not common bulkhead or anything, but check that out. Yeah, Scary. Now that really begs the question: what the heck is Northrop Grumman coming up with? I mean, can you imagine this and Starship working at the same time? I'd be okay with that. Yeah, I'd be pretty good with that. I don't know about you guys. That's a better way to do it. Yes, I can, and I like it. Any old Northrop Grumman designs? Not that I'm aware of, Phil. So Project Jarvis makes even more sense now. Can you believe this, Scary? Can you believe what's going on here? If they play the cards right, we could have Starship, MADV, and whatever the hell Project Jarvis is working all in conjunction with each other. That would be preferable, yeah. Plus whatever Northrop Grumman's design is too, yeah. I mean, we're probably gonna end up with a down select here, you know. Yeah, we're probably gonna end up with a down select. So maybe not all of those will get chosen for lunar orbital transport services, but. You think that Blue Origin is making something that could launch on a New Glenn and make it all the way, or do you think they might be working on New Armstrong? No, this is just for development, J-Rock. This isn't anything concrete. NASA said basically we'll pay you to come up with a proposal to build a lander, and then we'll decide which lander we want. Actually, on a thought, Northrop Grumman, if they're basically just a lander for people, it could end up being used as the personal bus for the space station to surface it back. Yeah, maybe, but that's kind of what MADV is. What is Dynetics known for? Well, they're a Leidos company. That's what they're known for, Cerebral. Bigger upper stage, Scary. Maybe. Sorry, I didn't catch that. What is Dynetics? It's a Leidos company. Leidos is a defense contractor, guys. They do all kinds of stuff. They make like radars and missiles and all different kinds of things. If you ever flown around in the U.S., where you have to put your hands up like this and the scanner, Leidos makes those. Last for Lockheed Martin's colony concept. It's very interesting that they're pivoting here to Lockheed Martin out of the blue, and the reason why I didn't jump on it, Forge, right, is because we didn't have any concrete evidence to say the otherwise, but now Lockheed's posting pictures like this. But I mean, if they're posting stuff like this, that should be pretty telling as to what they're doing. What the heck is that? Live in 5, got it. Are you telling me they're freaking lasers on the moon? Sharks with freaking laser beams attached to their heads? And before Northrop Grumman makes this again. Maybe yeah. Thomas, hey, old tricks are the best tricks. Can you imagine if they just rolled out with an updated LEM? Wouldn't that be ridiculous? My girlfriend just said maybe if he was more interesting, he wouldn't have to stream so much. She really doesn't like space. Yeah, you know. Because, you know, I couldn't just sit here and, you know, do space news every day and just make a living off that. Lem, but it's like 4 times the size. Yeah, I know, Scary. Wouldn't that be crazy? Yes, you gotta do better than that. That's right, girlfriend. I think that S can do better than that. Maybe he could go find a girl that likes space. Yeah, that's right. That's right, girlfriend. I called you out. Now what? Now what are you gonna do? Maybe the updated Lem will have a toilet? No. Poop in a bag. Smoked, I'm good, man. How are you? And before view count drops by 1. Notice how S-Master hasn't said anything now? I mean, to be fair, if I understand having a significant other correctly, the girlfriend probably didn't like S-Master saying what he said in chat. Yeah. I might have just gotten him killed. I got a question for you. Is a launch actually happening tomorrow? Yeah, launch happened today, Smoke. Where have you been? We watched the Soyuz launch 2 hours ago. I sent him to relationship gulag. Mm-hmm. Yep, we had a launch happen on Monday too. Starlink went off, Smoke. Yeah, people are starting to ramp up launch cadence again. Between the lunar development, Axiom private commercial, and everything else, I cannot wait for the late 2020s. Yep. The S stands for slap. The pararescue team used for NASA missions will not be activated for Inspiration4. Interesting. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just staring at this damn picture. It's interesting tuning. I haven't really read too much into it, but if Woz is getting into it, you can be damn sure it's going to be good. You know what rhymes with atomic bomb designer? Robert Oppenheimer. Yeah. Yeah, Zero, I like these. These are cool. These geodesic domes, those are pretty sweet, man. You know, sometimes I ask myself, like, okay, why can't we do this? Surely it's not that hard to build a building on the moon, right? Like, seriously, right? Like, surely it's not that difficult. I think, and the reason why I ask that question, right, is because, you know, why haven't we done it? Well, we haven't done it because the way to get there is the hard part. It's getting there. Building the stuff is shouldn't be that big of a deal. Right? You know, like, and I'm not talking about money in politics. I'm talking about technical feasibility. Would building a building on the moon be that difficult? No, probably not. Probably anything is hard to build on the moon because it's all exposed to radiation. But yeah, you're trading though. You have radiation, but you can also, like, dude, you and I could lift up a lunar buggy easily. We could you could move a semi-truck around on the moon. Where's the infrastructure to do that? Yeah, Novus, that's what I mean. Like, that's what I'm getting at, dude. Like, could we move an excavator to the moon with hydraulics? Sure, absolutely. The excavator would have to be electric, right? You could move a cat up there, no problem. It's getting there. That's the hard part. Is there really any technical feasibility that's stopping us from doing this? from digging a big hole in the ground and making apartments underground like that. No. No, there really isn't. I still want my lunar spin launch. Mass driver. No, screw spin launch. Why dig a hole? Just dome over craters. Well, you're going to need some kind of temp housing somewhere. But is this really that difficult to do? I don't think so. I don't think that building a structure on the moon is going to be that difficult. Seriously. Are there caves on the moon? There are lava tubes. Oh, yeah. Send basic forges, CNCs, and lathes, and you could build a JCB on the moon, right? Like, is it that difficult? I don't think that building something on the moon is the hard part. I think getting there is the hard part. That's always been the hard part. You know? It's always been the difficult part. Yeah, King, as a civil engineer, it'd be awesome to design a building on the moon. How legit would it be, dude? You don't need a tower crane. Can you imagine what a regular, like, okay, that Liebherr 11350 that's at Boca Chica, if we could move that up there and put that down, and provided we could give it power of some type, like just pretend that we can get the diesel engine on it to work, right? That could lift anything. Anything. It could lift it whatever you want. You wouldn't even need a lot of counterweight. You can lift whatever the heck you want.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Wait! 75-month resub. Thanks, man. What do we know of the structural integrity of lunar Martian surface? Structural integrity, it's 1/6 the structural integrity on Earth. That's it. I think the big challenge would be making buildings that are airtight. That would be the hard part. But still. The autonomous additively manufactured habitat. Yeah, the relativity approach. Nice try, Tim Ellis. No, yeah, I got you. The regolith would probably wreak havoc on the crane. Any more than the crane being next to windy salt water? Like, windy salty air? No. All right. Rad resistance? Not an insurmountable problem, Havocs. Your house is rad resistant. You know why? Because you don't get a suntan when you're inside. I get it. It needs to be a little bit more complicated than that. I understand that. Oof. Is that okay, so is the Inspiration4 presser live? Hot off the press, not good. B-2 stealth bomber damaged during emergency landing incident. Well, that's about $2 billion down the tubes. Cool. All right, moving on. It's live. Okay. SpaceX is online. SpaceX online. All right, let's get ready here. Pre-flight press conference. Burp. Okay, cool. Benji?
Joining us today here at our hangar
Benji!
at the historic Launch Complex 39A at NASA's Kennedy Space Center here in Florida.
Audio's under boosted.
I want to welcome you to this historic location where we have been launching astronauts for decades. NASA crews have gone to the moon, they've gone to the space shuttle, and they've helped build the space station and launch things like the Hubble Space Telescope to space, right here from this location.
Starman.
And recently, in our partnership with NASA, we've been continuing to send NASA crews to the International Space Station to keep them staffed and doing the excellent science that they do. Right now, I want to welcome and thank the crew of Inspiration4 for joining us. In just a little over 24 hours, they'll be blasting off on the first all-civilian mission to space. On behalf of SpaceX and all of our families, I want to thank you guys and thank your families for the trust that you put into us. It's an honor to be able to carry to space on this historic mission. SpaceX was founded on the belief that a future where humanity is out exploring the stars is more exciting than a life where we're not. And this mission that will launch tomorrow.
I'm with you on that
is the
one,
next
Trinidad.
step in that
You can
great
acknowledge
mission.
that they're doing good things for space and still also
Before I
not like it.
turn it over to the crew to talk a little bit more about themselves and what they're thinking about this mission, I'd like to talk a little bit about what the mission is that we've got coming up here. So the last few days have been super busy.
I'm back. That
on
did not
Friday,
go well. She
we
left
mated the
very
Dragon
mad.
and the Falcon together. Then over the weekend, we stood the Dragon and Falcon up on the launch pad. You can see that behind us right now. And then we did our crew dry dress, which is a great dress rehearsal where the crew actually goes, they get suited up into their spacesuits, they get into their Tesla vehicles, they come out here to the pad and they go up the elevator, the same elevator that the crews have been going up in for decades. And then they go out across that crew arm and get into the Dragon as if it were launch day. We close the launch hatch
I don't know what you were
and we're ready to
expecting. I don't know
go.
what she was expecting.
And then that's a good practice. And then we come back and debrief and make sure that everybody feels good about it. And that went very well. Right after that, early Monday morning, we did a static fire.
Smoke.
And that went well. All things checked out. We launched all the motors on the rocket, hold the rocket down for just a couple seconds, make sure everything looked good, and it looked great. And today, actually happening right now, is our launch readiness review. It's our final big review to make sure we've closed out all of the items and addressed any concerns and issues and risks on this mission as we get ready to go. And at this point in time, our teams, the Inspiration4 team, and everybody is ready to head into our time tomorrow. The main thing that we'll be watching is weather. When the crew launches, they'll be launching to an orbit of about 575 kilometers.
Sick, bro.
Now this is significant and historic because it's going to be the highest that any humans have gone into orbit since the Hubble servicing missions. And in fact, they'll be above the current orbit of the Hubble and above the current orbit of the International Space Station. Another historic part for SpaceX is that this will be the first time that we have 3 Dragons on orbit. We'll have a cargo Dragon and a crew Dragon, both at the space station, and we'll have the Inspiration4 crew on orbit.
All reused.
While on orbit, they'll be going around the Earth approximately 15 times every day. They'll stay up for about 3 days, and they'll bring them home safely to land back down here off the coast of Florida to bring them home and reunite them with their families.
Cool, Thomas.
To prepare for all of this work, this crew has been doing a significant amount of astronaut training. We've got a lot of great stats on this, in fact. For many months, hundreds of hours at SpaceX locations, they've been doing all kinds of training. They've studied over 90 different kinds of training guides and manuals and lessons to learn how to fly the Dragon and what to do in emergency situations. They've done their own kinds of preparations. This is a zero-G flight. They've climbed Mount Rainier together, and they've done a lot of jet fighter flights, which is really pretty cool, including some great flyovers here of 39A just the other day.
Would you be willing to do this? Absolutely.
Some of the other things that they've done to prepare are what we call simulations or sims. It's where the crew actually gets suited up, or whatever their appropriate attire would be for the phase of flight that they're in. They get into a simulator of the Dragon capsule. It's basically a replica of the Dragon capsule at our Hawthorne location. And they are in there, they got the comms on, they've got everything going. And all of our mission operation teams are also on console in the mission operations room, all integrated together doing these simulations. They've done many of these. In fact, they've even done a 12-hour and a 30-hour simulation, flight-like end to end, making sure that they're actually ready to go. So we're happy to say that this crew and our operations team and the entirety of SpaceX is ready and certified, ready to fly.
BJ, first one ever.
As always,
no
we're going to continue to listen to the data. We're going to listen to the hardware, and we're going to make sure that we're really ready to fly. Over the next 24 hours, we're not done when we get through the launch readiness review. We continue to make sure that we'll take this crew safely to orbit and bring them home safely to their families. One of the things we'll be paying a lot of attention to, of course, is the weather. Right now, the weather is trending well, and we'll continue to watch that as we go. As we've talked before in previous human missions, we look at not only the launch weather, but we have to look at the return weather for in case we needed to use the launch escape system all along the corridor of the ascent track. But we'll also, in the case of this mission, be looking at the weather when we come home in just 3 or 4 days from now. It's important to understand what that weather looks like too. So we'll be integrating all of these variables together to understand if we're ready to launch or not. Once again, on behalf of SpaceX, all of our employees, I want to take the opportunity to thank you, the crew, for your trust in us. I want to thank NASA for their great partnership in helping us develop this capability to carry crews to space. And I also want to thank the FAA and the 45th Space Wing for all of their support, including on the launch and return of this mission. And now we should take it over to you guys. We'd love to hear from you on how you're feeling and what you're looking forward to in the mission.
Yeah, thanks, Benji. So,
Jared.
Hi, everyone. Jared Isaac, Commander Inspiration4. You know, from the start of this mission, we've been very aware of how lucky we are, how fortunate we are to be part of this history that SpaceX is creating right now. So this seems like a time for just some acknowledgments. First, just expressing appreciation for all the pioneers who've come before us and paved this road that we're traveling on right now. And also to the foresight and ingenuity of SpaceX some 20 years ago. For without their efforts then, there wouldn't be an Inspiration4 mission today.
Without their efforts then, there wouldn't be an Inspiration4 mission today?
To talk a little bit
I'm
about
interested
Inspiration4.
to talk a little bit about Inspiration4.
This dream began 10 months ago. Really,
this began 10 months
not that
ago?
long ago? Actually, just prior to Crew 1 launch.
Just prior to the Crew 1 launch.
We set out from the start to
deliver
a very inspiring message.
Very inspiring messages.
What can be done up in space.
Showing what can be done up in
there, but also
what can be done up in space, but also what we can do on the ground.
We chose to do that through
We chose to do that
crew selection process,
which
I feel like
through the crew selection process,
objective, to assemble a very inspiring crew,
which had an objective to assemble a very inspiring
so many,
crew.
Amazing qualities and contributing
you can hear
so many
him? Dude, he's
interesting
really low
firsts
for
that
me.
This mission has been accomplished. And we also chose to do it through the largest fundraising effort in the history of St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, acknowledging the real responsibilities we have here on Earth in order to earn the right to make progress up in space. And I feel like we're well on our way to achieving.
All right, I'll wait. You know what, chat? I'll wait 30
So,
seconds until somebody says he's too quiet, okay?
How,
and then I'll go back to what I was doing.
This amazing opportunity.
You're welcome.
We know that the four of us are about to have an experience that only about 600 or so have had before us. And we're very focused on making sure that we give back every bit of that time that we get on orbit for the people and the causes that matter most to us. Thank you.
I'm Haley Arsenault. I am the medical officer of this mission, and I just want to start off by thanking Jared and SpaceX for just allowing this mission to be possible and the awareness that it's raising for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, all the funds, the $200 million goal that we have set that I know we're going to crush, and it's going to go to these kids that I get to work with who inspire me every day. And we just couldn't be more excited about the mission. I think we have a lot of future astronauts at St. Jude now. And just from a medical officer perspective, I'm so excited about the medical research that we're going to be doing on this flight. And we're going to be collecting a lot of swabs to learn about the microbiome, how that changes in flight. We're going to be performing ultrasounds to evaluate for fluid shifts, as well as performing some cognitive tests and studying radiation effects of going to our high altitude. And to mention the payload a little bit, this is a fundraising effort for St. Jude. And we're really excited to bring along an NFT by Kings of Leon's called Time in Disguise, their new release hit. And we're going to jam to it on orbit and later auction that for St. Jude, which is so special to be part of. But we just couldn't be more excited to launch tomorrow. So thank you all so much for making this happen.
I'm really grateful to be here and to have this opportunity, and thank you to Jared and to SpaceX for everything that you've done for me. I am the mission pilot, and it's really special for me to hold that title because I'm going to be the first black female pilot of a spacecraft. There have been 3 black female astronauts that have made it to space, and knowing that I'm going to be the 4th means that I have this opportunity to not only accomplish my dream, but also inspire the next generation of women of color and girls of color and really get them to think about reaching for the stars and what that means. So I feel very fortunate to have that.
Tomorrow night.
Space to Inspire has always been my motto as a teacher. And when I was talking to my students, the thing about it was when I would say space to inspire, they're thinking outer space, but really it's this space. Your space. We all have this unique space that we carry with us everywhere we go, and getting to know what it is that makes us passionate and how to share our unique gifts with the world is so important. And knowing that as an educator, I get to go to space and now do that. I have memories of Challenger and being home with Krista McAuliffe and what that means to me. Her legacy as being the first teacher in space to me being now this educator going to space, and how do I bring everybody along with me. So I'm thrilled to say that my school, South Mountain Community College, part of the Maricopa Community College District, has supported me during this entire endeavor, and I'm bringing art and poetry with me to space. Not only my own original art and poetry, but I'm bringing student art and poetry, and then we have a whole community of artists that are doing a fundraiser for St. Jude. It's an NFT fundraiser, but it's digital art, one-of-a-piece kinds, with astronauts like Nicole Stott and Ron Guerin and myself, and also young artists like Nyla, who's 12, who has contributed a piece to raise money for St. Jude. And so that's going to be available only while we're on orbit, and it's NFT going to space.com, and all the proceeds support St. Jude. Chris, what have you been thinking about?
Oh gosh, I mean, so thanks, Leo. So I think I've been just thinking about how lucky I am to be a part of this crew, to be a part of this mission. From watching a Super Bowl commercial and making a donation to not winning that, and then having my friend win it, and then through his generosity give that spot to me. I think that just really puts me in a very special spot where not only do I feel very lucky to be here, but I have a huge responsibility to, pay that forward and show that generosity towards others, and to bring that message to everyone else as we go through this flight and as we come back. I also get this opportunity to inspire my daughters, and it's already been an incredible year for them to see the folks at SpaceX working and to see all of the work that happens here at Kennedy Space Center. It's truly inspiring for her, as well as so many other kids, like you mentioned, Haley at St. Jude. And then I've talked to some other educators around the Northwest and throughout the country. They're very excited by this mission, and obviously that exuberance is coming through with me today as well. As a mission specialist on this flight, I'm really excited to make sure that we have a very successful mission, that we take care of all the medical experiments in a way that's truly going to help expand humanity's presence out in space for the long term. I also am very excited that I'll be able to try my hand at playing some music on the ukulele up in space. So I apologize for any ears that are listening intently, but I'll give it my best shot. And I do know the acoustics are pretty good in Dragon, so it'll come through. But I just also wanted to say, as we get on with our mission and go up into space, that I hope people take the opportunity to look ahead and look at each other and feel inspired to pursue whatever it is that you are passionate about, and give of your talents and your time and your resources to other people. Not only are we trying to raise money for St. Jude to try to eliminate childhood disease, but we can do so much good around if we just reach out to each other. And I know that that's what we're doing as a crew to make sure that we are going to be successful in space. So again, thanks to SpaceX, and Benji, thanks for taking the time to talk with us today, and Jared, thanks a lot for this opportunity.
Awesome. You guys really are inspiring. Let's take a few questions here from the room. We'll take 4 or 5 here from the room, and anybody online, if you're going to be coming in, please press *1.
Hello, Marcia Dunn, AP. You're 4 fairly ordinary people about to do something that's anything but ordinary. And I'm wondering if you have any last-minute jitters, butterflies, do you feel the pressure starting to mount just a day out? And what personal reassurances is Elon Musk offering you, or words of wisdom?
Sure. So I think maybe I can answer the last part of that question first, and then I think everybody should contribute. So we did just have a leadership check-in meeting, of which we have them rather regularly with SpaceX as well, especially as hardware, software, and all the other preparations were coming together for this launch. So Elon was on the last call and did give us his assurances again that the entire leadership team is solely focused on this mission and is very confident. So, and that obviously inspires a lot of confidence for us as well. But no jitters, excited to get going. So.
And just speaking to how we're feeling, I personally I'm so excited. And any jitters are the good kind, where I'm just so excited for tomorrow to get here, and just feeling really grateful to be where I am.
I was always worried that this moment would never come in my life, so I'm ready to go. Let's do it.
Hell yeah.
Right, and same for me. I never thought I would have this opportunity, but being able to be in front like this is great. No worries, no
Tomorrow
concerns.
On
You know,
that
maybe a little bit
spaceship
of
back there in the
stage
background.
fright a little bit when you have to sing and play at the same time, even though that was self-induced, but we'll have some fun up there. I'm totally confident in the entire SpaceX team,
Yes.
and so thrilled to be a part of it.
I'd go, absolutely.
I also like to look at
No
risk on
questions asked.
a relative basis. So the last couple days we've been tearing up the skies in some fighter jets, which I put at relatively higher risk in this mission, so that we're nice and comfortable as we get strapped into the Falcon.
Hi, Irene Klotz with Aviation
Nice.
Week in Space Technology. Jared mentioned that the training
chat,
for this
Scary.
mission was more intensive than what he was
time I hear
thinking he
Jared
was getting
talk,
into. Benji, as the first
like him more and
flight
more.
that SpaceX has done without NASA oversight and NASA astronauts, and from any feedback you've
Of
been
course,
able to
Michael,
get
this
from
is-
this crew, how do you think this training might change for future civilian crews?
That's a great question. You know, ultimately, right, we want to make life multiplanetary. And that means putting millions of people in space one day. So the long-term vision is that space flight becomes airline-like, right? You can buy a ticket and you go. But right now, the appropriate thing is that we still train people significantly. And as I mentioned, this crew has been astronaut trained like our other crews that we've trained before. As we evolve, we may look at ways that we can, we want to make sure the crew is safe always. We want to make sure the public is safe during launch and reentry. But as we look for ways to evolve toward that airline-like model, we'll look for how we can, cut back on the amount of training that's necessary to ensure safety.
Hi, Miriam Kramer with Axios. Good to see you guys. This question is for everybody, including Benji. I'm actually curious, the last time you were in this hangar and doing this kind of press conference, you were being announced to the world for Cyan and Chris. I wonder if you guys could reflect a little bit on how much things have changed for you and just sort of even emotionally, what it feels like now versus then. Same for you, Benji, if you don't mind. Thanks.
I'll start real quick because I want to hear from these guys mostly. For me, it blows me away, honestly. This has been about a 9-month-ish journey, right? 9 or 10 months. And so that's just incredible, right? And that's a sign of moving towards that, make space accessible for everybody. And it gives me goosebumps even right now to talk about, to think about we were facing that way because we had some rockets here in the hangar. And now, a few months later, we're facing this way so you can see their rocket and their
Space Tesla's
Dragon
in the
up on the
background.
pad. So it's pretty cool.
Sorry.
So I think it was just yesterday I was doing an interview, and one of the questions was, what have you really missed out on as you've gone through training? And the answer is reflection. We really haven't had the time, at least, I mean, not to speak on behalf of the crew, but we talk about this quite a bit. From the time this mission was announced in this hangar to where we are today, we've just been going supersonic. It's just been super fast. One training event after the next, a number of these life-changing experiences in their own right in quick succession.
Let me see it, Thomas.
So, yeah, I mean, as we walk in here, for sure, it clicks that, I think last time we were talking with a lot of cameras was when we announced this whole thing, but that feels like it was yesterday. So it's one of the reasons we're really happy that we've had a chance to connect with all of you, why there's a documentary, so that, when this thing's over, we have a chance to look back on everything we've experienced and kind of remember those good memories.
Back when we were here last, I think that was in February, it felt far away that we were going to space. We didn't have a date. It was almost kind of abstract. And now, I mean, our rocket is behind us and we're going in about 27 hours or so. And so it's just so much more real and just so exciting.
For me, since the announcement when we were here last, every day has been the best day of my life. And it's only getting better. So I'm just thrilled and just holding on, and maybe reflect once we get back and are at the splashdown party, but every day it just gets better and better.
Yeah, I agree with Cyan. Stand by.
I know. Yeah, boy, isn't it cool? Benji's like, all right. right, dude. Shut up. Gee.
At least it's not the hurricane warning.
That's true. That's true.
That would mess with timelines.
We're going to let you continue. Just for everybody knowing what was going on in the background there was a COVID announcement. There is a speaker system here on the station and the base that we have to hear certain warnings. And this was a COVID reminder. And it's actually a good time to remember that we are all vaccinated and we're all practicing
pivot,
appropriate COVID protections, as well as the fact that the crew is also in quarantine, as they should be before they go to space. So, go ahead.
Oh yeah, well, so that part hasn't changed over the last 6 months, right? So, but more seriously, I think just going from like what Haley mentioned, it just feels like yesterday that we were here. I had no idea what we would be really in for when we started out, and now that we're here, it's been an amazing process, meeting so many incredible people, and just building that confidence that there's nothing that we can't do if we put our minds to it and work together. So it's just been an incredible journey. I just can't believe that I'm still sitting here, and like Jared mentioned too, we'll reflect back
Chris
on
is an engineer for Lockheed Martin.
when we come back.
Zero.
And I think we're not done once we do splash down either. I know that we want to continue to be able to inspire people throughout everything that we've done in
Pretty
space
talented
and throughout
bunch
this
here.
entire year. And through the documentary that's out now that you can take a look at and learn some more about what the experiences we've done
Of
this
course,
year. That'll be our way of processing as well, and we'll be processing right along with you guys through all of this. So I'm excited to take every one of you up with us now that we are here, like Haley said,
problem,
27
DJ.
hours.
It's my job, dude. It's what
Awesome.
I do here.
We're going to take one more question here from the crowd, and then we're going to go to the phone.
Hello, congrats everyone. My question is, what was the most difficult part of your training? And I'm Robin from Supercluster, by the way, and I look forward to adding each of you to the astronaut database tomorrow night.
Up into low Earth orbit.
I would
Strawn?
probably, I mean, everyone should contribute, but the academic phase was really kind of the first part. Need to have an appreciation, understanding of the systems before you go and start pushing buttons. So that was a little.
They're going to the highest
that was a little
orbit
overwhelming when
since 1972.
we got dumped
Popsicle.
a lot of PDFs.
590 kilometers.
Right away. And then, it was a
about
little bit of
400
death by
miles
PowerPoint
up.
for a couple weeks, but then it
a long
immediately went into kind of the more fun phase, where now you're taking all that knowledge that you've
Nope,
accumulated,
higher than
and
that,
you're putting it to practical use through nominal
Circular.
operations, and then you
Correct.
move into some of the contingencies, and then you start to really bring it together in those sims that Benji was referencing, and that was probably the most fun part. So. Where you get to interact with the army
It's
that
a big deal.
is SpaceX that comes together to make these kind of missions possible. So, yeah, that's my training reflection.
I might just jump up ahead so you can end on a good note too, baby. But I know that for me, one of the most difficult parts for this was just going through it with my family, how I've had this incredible year with my crew and my teammates here, but remembering that our families are the ones that are also supporting us in all this, and they're having a completely different experience, and
They are, Boris.
listening to
Higher
everything
than
from
all.
the outside without being right down the center line of working with Benji and the team at SpaceX.
It's a reused booster.
So,
Booster's on the pad
but getting
behind
that
it.
support and getting that brought together, and also doing everything for the first time as an all-civilian crew. We're writing the rules. We're breaking a couple of them that NASA used to demand, and well, we get to kind of do things our own way. So that's been a fun part, but also a challenging part as we navigate all this.
I know a challenging part for me, growing up as a black female and always trying to be a high achiever and not mess up. And so just having that pressure on yourself of thinking about, not wanting to be eliminated, not wanting to miss out, make sure you're the best of the best, because you're opening up the door for the people who follow you. And a lot of times, if you're in that position of a role model, if you slip or you mess up, then it means that you're kind of shutting the door for those behind you. And so having that pressure and thinking about how do I be the best, not only for myself, but for my crew members, but then for also everybody that follows behind me.
3 days.
So
Michael.
that, so there is a path forward for that Jedi space, a just, equitable, diverse, and inclusive space that we all want to strive for.
You've done an incredible job.
Yeah.
And for me, probably the most daunting, I will say, instead of difficult, was climbing Mount Rainier. And that was one of our first crew bonding experiences. We got to know each other really well, really quickly, and as we hiked for almost 10 hours up the mountain and then spent 3 days on the mountain, but I think it definitely showed us that we can get through anything together, like Chris said, and also we get along really well under pressure.
Awesome. Right now we're going to go to the phone. I think we have Michael Sheets from CNBC.
Mikey.
Hi, everybody. Great to chat with you guys. I'm curious to hear a little bit from Benji on the kind of missions in the wings behind this one. We talked a little bit about the training feedback you've gotten. I'm curious how many different missions SpaceX has lined up on the similarly all private side that are non-government missions, and what other organizations you guys are working with, and maybe if you're going to build some more Dragons.
That's a great question. The reality is that the Dragon Manifest is getting busier by the moment. It's awesome. Like we've got obviously this mission coming up. Just this year, still, we'll have our Crew 3 mission to send a new crew up to the space station. We have another cargo mission after that. And then heading into the new year, we will have another commercial astronaut mission. We'll be sending 4 astronauts up for an Axiom mission for the Axiom company that will be delivering those astronauts to the space station to stay on the space station for a few days. And it just goes on from there. We have a number of NASA missions that we'll do, and we also have a growing backlog of commercial astronaut missions that we're looking forward to perform.
Axiom's net January. Okay. Jeez.
I think we have Nick Mazoff from People
5
Magazine
months away instead of 4 months away.
Hi there. Congratulations on reaching this exciting milestone. I'm really curious, after you finally exit Earth's atmosphere and enter space, what's the first thing you'll be doing to celebrate?
Crazy.
So I'll be excited to get back to my patients and get to share this with them. I think there's going to be a lot of fun pics and stories to share.
Yeah, I think once we're up on orbit, the first thing we'll be excited to see is to see Haley find out or reveal what our zero-G indicator is and or how that connects back to our overall mission. I think that's going to be the first way we celebrate.
Completely agree.
Yeah, just toss that out. And then when we get to reveal the cupola for the first time, will be a really big moment, I think, because that view, we're all excited about it.
8 Eastern.
Awesome. All right, let's go back to the room.
Hey guys, Ed Ludlow from Bloomberg TV. Benji and Jared, in one of the scenes in the documentary series, there was some debate about the merits of going to 575 kilometers. And there was a dissenting voice in the room, off camera, on the phone. Ultimately, Benji, who made that decision? Where did the buck stop on going to that distance? And what are the kind of additional challenges and risks? And Jared, why were you so set on going to that altitude for the orbit?
Why don't we start with Jared?
Sure. So actually,
that was the everyday Astro Boy.
The person who was expressing some of that initial concern was in one of our last risk briefs at Hawthorne, which was just like a week ago before we came here, and I was like, before you start talking, somebody cue the ominous music because you need that background now anytime you speak. Well, anyway, you'd know it if you saw the Netflix. So, yeah, now I just wish we pushed them to go higher. But why? I mean, we've been going to the space station for some time, and there's just unbelievable science and research and great contributions that are coming out of there. But if we're going to, go to the moon again, and we're going to go to Mars and beyond, then we got to get a little outside of our comfort zone and take that, next step in that direction. That was really the rationale.
I know a lot of people in those documentaries, dude.
I think that there were, obviously they wouldn't have mentioned it they wouldn't have mentioned that there weren't some additional risks if there weren't, and there are, but ones that we've now had really several months to think through and mitigate in order to safely execute at that, orbital apogee.
And to answer the question, ultimately, we do want to inspire, and Jared has been a great partner and a great driver to push us towards inspiration and the meaning of the mission, in practice. And ultimately, it's also, though, about safety and reliability. We want to make sure we take the crew safely. So when we first set up the mission, we look at it and we say, well, okay, what have we been doing? What do we know how to do really well? We've been doing it for NASA. So we were looking at those kinds of parameters, but it's not to say that you can't go and do more, and you should go and do more when you can. And so I think it was a great push, honestly, from Jared, and the team looked at it, we assessed it. It's certainly Dragon's capable of doing it, and we did all of the risk analysis to make sure that we'd fly safely.
Jared's a cool dude. He's the real deal.
I mean, this is just to brag a little bit on SpaceX. I mean, this is the organization, that is going to, in large part, get us to the moon, and certainly with the eyes towards Mars, right? And there's a lot of risks on a 6-month journey like that. So better to, I think, start taking some steps now, today, in a very well thought out and mitigated way, so that we can continue to reach towards those extraordinary goals, like making life multiplanetary and the world more interesting when people can journey among the stars.
Chris Gellhardt with
That's why I
NASA
do what I do,
Spaceflight.
guys.
I'm wondering, Haley, you mentioned all the science experiments that are on board.
Chris!
Are there others than the ones that you mentioned before? And for all of you, what's sort of the science experiment you're most excited about for this one in terms of either performing it or what it can give back to us after the mission? Thank you.
So those are the main ones that we're doing, and we're really excited about the ultrasound. We've all gotten briefed on ultrasound and to evaluate the fluid shifts, and it's really unique that this is flying with us. And so I know the docs at SpaceX are really excited about it, and so we are too.
I think some of the ultrasound ones, will give us some insight into intracranial pressure, which may help understand some things that have, some vision-related issues that have impacted astronauts previously. We also have had giant chunks of our skin taken before and after flight, which Leo here has a great idea. If you get them in the same spot on the arm, you can create dragon eyes for the eventual dragon tattoo, which is cool. But this is going to be important too, because they're going at our orbital altitude. It is a higher radiation profile than what would be observed at the space station. And the greater the understanding we can have on that, the better planning we can make for future long duration missions like going to Mars.
Right. I know we're also, a couple of us are measuring our glucose levels during flight. We're looking for ways to include more people going to space, not just eliminate folks. So by understanding how the body, it metabolizes its sugar over the course of 3 days, if it's different in space, that's another great contribution, because we could potentially be able to send diabetics up into space if there's some mitigating factors that we could do to help support those.
And for me, from just an artistic standpoint, I'm excited to bring paint and do some art in space, and thinking about just the fluids and the dynamics of watercolors and pulling paint from the palette and putting it on to the paper, but also pens and markers, and really trying to show my students what that looks like and how that process is happening. And so I'm excited to see what not so great masterpiece that I will be making while you're playing. So it'll be a fun art experiment up there.
Hi everyone, Jackie Waddles, CNN. So my question is about the capsule. Would love to hear from any of you. I'm sure you're very familiar with the craft you're going in, but also for Benji, are there specific differences apart from adding the cupola that are built in for safety? Any other changes that were made to resilience before this flight?
The cupola is the main change that we made. And really, it just takes the place of the docking adapter. Since we're not docking anywhere, it makes sense to have a cupola and have the biggest contiguous window that's ever been put in space. But otherwise, it's the same very safe Dragon that we're flying right now for NASA crews.
Hey, it's Chris Davenport with the Washington Post. Benji, just to follow up on the question about the higher altitude, can you talk a little bit about that risk analysis, what went into it, and how you ultimately came to the conclusion that, yeah, we can fly them at that altitude, it's safe to do so?
Sure, absolutely. So a lot of things go into what, when you're doing a mission plan, right, a mission profile, or what we call mission design. And first of all, you want to talk about performance, right? Do we have the prop or the fuel to go to where we need to go to, and have plenty of margin for the entire mission, and then additional if we have, need to stay up any longer, and then, plenty to come home. So you're doing a budget there. You're doing budgets across all of your other consumables as well, right? So for example, your ability to scrub carbon dioxide out of the capsule, or your water, your oxygen, food, things like this, of course. Other things that you're looking at as you go to the higher altitude. Jared mentioned one, right, is a radiation environment. Another one, of course, that we talk about is MMOD, or micrometeorite impact, orbital debris. We need to make sure that we understand and have bounded, any risk assessment based on that, and make sure that we're flying Dragon and Dragon's able to handle that. And so these are the kinds of kind of across the whole vehicle and across the whole mission where you look at, okay, this is our profile, this is where we want to go. Does the vehicle perform and come home with adequate safety margin to do that? So a lot of it is a safety margin analysis.
Hi folks, Katie Coleman, one of the former astronauts, and actually I'm along with Leland Melvin and Ron Guerin. We are helping to host the Netflix Time, send-off, which is really a way for everyone that you love to be watching if they're not here, right? And we were talking last night, and we really, we know what it's like to fly on the shuttle and live inside the shuttle, and we know what it's like to do that on the station, but we don't know what it's like to be inside the Dragon. And we would love to know, what are you what are you most excited about, and maybe kind of oh, let's see how this goes in terms of those 3 days, because everyone wants to know. And it's nice to see you.
Well, I think we got a really good taste of life in Dragon. We did a 30-hour simulation.
Hey, Michael, what's
and
going
so
on?
we were in our Dragon simulator in Hawthorne for 30 hours straight, and we had a great time. But also it was so helpful because we went through the process of launch and then just living in Dragon, and we did some of our experiments. We did different things that we're going to be performing up there, some of our daily tasks. And we even practiced calling our families. And so we got a really good taste. We slept in the Dragon simulator, and then the next day we went through reentry. But we were really funny in space. We were just having such a good time and joking around. And at the end of the simulator, at the end of the 30 hours, I was like, oh, I don't want to leave you guys. So I'm excited we'll have a little bit longer when we're actually in space.
I think also just moving around. We did a zero-G flight, but it's not enough time. And so I know we're going to spin Haley a bunch of times around. And some of the things that we've seen astronauts on the ISS do or on a shuttle, just the way you have fun together, the way you eat together, but also just the way you navigate that unique space. And so I think that's one of the things that we're looking forward to, is how do we figure out how to navigate our space and have fun while we're doing it.
Well, we're just excited to welcome you to the family.
Thank you.
Much appreciated.
Hey, Joey Roulette with The Verge. Question for Benji. I wanted to follow up on Jackie's question. Is there anything other than the glass dome that is different with the interior of the Crew Dragon? Is there anything operationally different about this mission? Obviously, we have a new type of crew here. But, and also, for example, if there's an abort scenario, do you have the same kind of recovery teams on standby? And then I had one other question for the crew. Millions and millions of people are going to be watching you guys, in the next couple of days. What do you want them to take away from this, just generally? Each, you could answer that, and what does this mean, and why does this matter?
5
Thanks.
subs. Thank you.
Honestly, in terms of Dragon, there's really no significant other changes to Dragon, other than swapping the docking adapter for the cupola. It's the Dragon. It's the awesome Dragon that's flying. It's up on station right now. It's the same one these guys are going to fly in, and that these guys are trained to fly with all of its capabilities.
Yeah, I guess in terms of what we hope people take away from all of this.
It's been flown, Gaben.
I think 2 things
Flown
come
booster,
to mind.
flown
One,
capsule.
we understand, the significance of this mission. We understand how lucky and fortunate we are. And we tried to be very, very thoughtful about our approach on this to hopefully set the standard for other missions to follow. And that in our mind is a lot about the responsibilities we have here on Earth, in addition to what we hope can be achieved in space. And the other thing too is I would say is that it's just getting started. That would be the other takeaway I'd have, is this is just the beginning now.
For me personally, I'm really honored to be representing kids with cancer and childhood cancer survivors, but everyone in life has been dealt a certain hand. Everyone's had to overcome something. And I hope that those who are in the process of overcoming something can look to me and see the importance of holding on to hope, because I firmly believe that there are better days and you don't know what's around the corner.
For me, as a geoscientist, there's no better place than home. So I think about how solving for space solves for Earth. And as we push human spaceflight further and further, all of that technology and information that we learn is not only is it designed here on Earth, but we use that here on Earth to make our planet better. And so I think that that's really important. And then also, space to inspire, thinking about how we can inspire you to use your unique space to do something for
3 days
not only yourself and your
up on
family,
orbit,
but
right?
for humanity, and getting people to think of ways to do that.
They're going above
and as we
Hubble.
move,
It's a long way up.
to the moon and Mars and beyond, we're writing the narrative of human spaceflight right now. So when we do that, we need to think about a Jedi space, a just, equitable, diverse, and inclusive space for all of humanity. Because we're on Starship Earth, and we want to bring everybody along with us.
Well, and then I guess for me, I'm just going to echo everything else everybody's already said. We really hope that we can inspire people through this mission to pursue some science and technology careers, inspire the artists and people to really share their own talents, no matter what it is. I think beyond that, we've got this huge mission to raise money for St. Jude and really eliminate childhood disease through this big fundraiser. So my biggest takeaway that I would hope everyone could get from this mission is that feel like you're a part of this mission and help us reach our goals. I think that's the best thing we could do.
Yeah, hi, Jeff Calkins from the Daily Memphian. For Jared and for Haley, what do you see as the logical connection between space travel and addressing childhood cancer? And then for Haley in specific, when you think back to that day when your mom was making pancakes and felt the knot on your knee to where you are sitting now, how do you even begin to think about or describe that journey?
I'll let you take the first one.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think it was important that it needed to have a connection. I just really felt at the time Inspiration4 was created, and knowing that this was going to be a first, and there's a lot of responsibility that comes with that, we had to send a message that there are real problems and real obligations we have to pay attention to here on Earth in order to earn the right to make progress for tomorrow. St. Jude was, one that I gravitated towards right from the start, because I do know how lucky I've been in life, and I think, again, to just using Haley's example, there are a lot of families that have been dealt a really horrible hand in life that don't get to grow up and experience anything close to what we're able to go through now and tomorrow. So just felt like we had to do something about it. That's why St. Jude became such a big part of the mission.
And thank you for that question. Thinking back, that was almost 20 years ago that it was just a regular day, and then my mom found a lump which turned out to be cancer. And I never thought I'd be sitting here in front of a rocket about to go off into space. We've really taken things one day at a time from that moment. That's how we've had to get through that really difficult year. But I am so thankful for my journey with cancer, because it gave me a love for life, just a zest for life, and a confidence to say yes to opportunities. And because of my cancer, knowing that I'm sitting here today and getting to represent all these other kids, this is the biggest honor of my life.
Rachel Crane from CNN. A question for the crew. I know you guys mentioned you heard from Elon earlier today, but any other surprising voices you guys have heard from wishing you well? And also a question for Benji. There's a lot of firsts with this mission, but of course one that stands out to all of us is the beautiful cupola. Can you talk to us about the challenges of incorporating that into Crew Dragon? Thank you.
Do you want to take that part first?
Okay, I'll take the cupola first. Really, it's like any other part of Dragon. It's a component and a subsystem in and of itself, and so we have to go through the same development process, right? We've got concepts, we've got ideas, we do some initial testing or some initial on the bench, and doing some development creation of what it might look like, looking at different materials, but then we put it through the full rigor of the full body of tests that we need to do. The qualification campaign, thermal, structural. Making sure we understand what the thermal dynamics will be in the capsule when we change that volume of space. It actually increases the volume of the habitable volume of Dragon significantly. So we had to analyze that and make sure we could work through that. So all those little details, but you do the same thing for any new component or any new subsystem that you put on a Dragon.
You use the Michelin model.
I could say something. I know that for me, Turns out
They
space is
analyze
a
that, too.
topic and a subject that really brings a lot of great people together, and so I've got family who lives all over the country, and they've decided that this is the moment in time to come together and join up. So to me, that was a great and inspiring thing that's come out of this, is that we're all coming from all different parts of the country and congregating here in Florida, and I'm really excited to celebrate with them when we get back. That was one surprising thing for me.
Hi.
Well,
Oh, sorry.
anything else to add?
I was just going to say, aside from Elon, like we've heard from so many astronauts from the time this mission was announced. I mean, you know, those who've been on shuttle, Soyuz, those that have walked on the moon, and even as of late, we had a chance to speak to Crew One, and they were able to give us, you know, some of the very Falcon and Dragon specific knowledge that you'd only probably have if you went uphill and downhill with it. So you know, the sounds of Dragon, we've gotten some insights into, but a lot of outreach, a lot of support from the astronaut community, especially because they know there's a lot of space up there, and it's going to take organizations like SpaceX and a lot of people that are willing to go out and explore it. So they've been very supportive.
We also had a very special call today, and one of the things that was important to me was, you know, my parents have both passed away, and I'm not married and I don't have kids, and so when I was thinking about who do I want to talk to at this time, I have my siblings and stuff, but it just didn't feel quite the same. And as we go and embark on this inspirational mission, I thought, well, you know, who has inspired me, and who would I want to talk to and just thank them for the impact that they had in my life. And so I was very fortunate that I could help me and my crew speak with Michelle Obama today. And so we had a very nice conversation that will stay with me the rest of my life, because she has inspired me, and I feel so fortunate that I could have that opportunity and share it with my crew.
Hi, Lucie Aubrook for AFP. Publishing stories about this mission in the last few days, we've been able to see a lot of comments on social media about the environment, and people in the general public often say, well, this is bad for the environment. So I'm just curious, Jared, how you respond to that critic.
You're bad for the
Well, I
environment.
think, you know, the founder of SpaceX who's able to make this mission possible, you know, I can't think of an individual who's had more of a positive impact on the world with Tesla. I mean, a single individual that's, you know, been able to really bring about this electronic vehicle revolutions. You're not talking about somebody or an organization here that openly disregards the impact of the environment. The whole roadmap, and I think it's rather public, is how to continue to make, you know, this type of capability, you know, more sustainable. But also, it recognizes that there are a lot of things that some of which are outside of our control that can have a pretty detrimental impact on our home planet here, and that's why it's so important to make humankind a multiplanetary species. So yeah, I think that there's certainly valid, you know, concerns there. It's always worth the discussion and debate. But I think if you really, you know, do the research behind it, you're talking about an organization here that cares very, very much about this world we live in, and that's why SpaceX exists.
Hi, Ken Chang from New York Times. In the documentary, there was a mention of cold pizza. So I was wondering if that's been ordered and packed up. And more broadly, what else will you be eating during the mission? And what are sort of the daily life things going to be like on the mission, such as eating and sleeping? What are the arrangements? Or are there sleeping bags and such?
The cold pizza better be packed, because that was my order. You know, food and mood is so important. So I think for us, it was really important working with SpaceX to get food that made us feel comfortable and that we could eat. And they've done a great job of accommodating that because I think we're all really happy.
Yeah.
Food's gonna be great.
Then just daily life up there, it's gonna be fun. It's like an extended camping trip. You know, you're in a camper van with some of your closest friends for 3 days, and it's just, you roll out the sleeping bags at night just like any other camping trip, and just strap yourself in so you don't float into each other during the middle of the night, and just do all those normal things that you do just to live and just like we do every day. So it'll be a couple unique challenges, but maintaining privacy here and there. But we've gotten some great tips, like Jared mentioned, from Crew 1, and we'll let you know more about how successful they were when we come back.
We came out of the 30-hour sim and still wanted to go, so I think that's a good sign.
For sure. All right, now we're going to go to the phone. I think we have Stephen Clark from Spaceflight Now.
No, we don't.
All right, we'll come back to the phone. We'll go ahead and take one from the room.
Japan. I have a question about the launch capability of the crewed mission of SpaceX. So there's 2 more missions coming up in the next few months after this Inspiration4 mission. So how often can SpaceX launch a private crewed mission besides NASA commercial crew launch?
Good question.
That's a great question. Right now we're gearing up to be able to fly 3 or 4, 5, 6 times a year at least. So I look forward. There's nothing really that limits our capability to launch, right? It's about having rockets and Dragons ready to go, and having those, having everything in the manifest aligned with all of our other launches. Sounds like I'm hearing that we're going to go to Emily Speck from KNG.
Hi, Emily Speck with WKMG. I just had a question for, Diane. What do you think this means to the Space Coast for everyone here to be watching? This is the first launch of its kind. Thanks so much.
I think that, having being the mission pilot and being able to represent, not only that, but being an older black female, in my 50s, and I think that I think it's just going to be inspiring to see that you can know that those dreams that you had when you were a kid can still come true. Because a lot of times we think that we've missed our prime in once our 20s and our 30s go by, and then we get into our 40s and we're like, oh yeah, all right. But it's not true, and I think that when we lift off, it's going to be inspiring, not only for me, but I think everybody who's following along, because they can connect with every one of our crew members in a unique and special way.
All right, I think we have on the phone Marina Corinne from the Atlantic.
Hi, this question is for Cyan, Chris, and Haley. In your training for this mission, was there a moment or a situation that you experienced that made you think, okay, I'm going to be fine. I trust SpaceX technology and SpaceX software to take me on this journey and bring me home. And this is something I can tell my family and friends about to help reassure them. And what was that moment for you?
Gosh, you were starting to ask the question, and you went a different direction, but I kept thinking about what moment did I feel like we were going to be successful with this mission. And to me, it was that moment when we all made it to Camp Muir and knew that we were going to be okay, that we could accomplish no matter what the objective was, and that we were not going to stop until we did that. So getting to Camp Muir, I think, was a huge point for me in terms of knowing that I could bring a message back to my family to show them exactly what we're doing. I think that was probably almost day one at SpaceX. They gave us their quick introductory Space 101 presentation of how they see a mission going, how they see a mission working, and knowing all the safety and experts they put behind everything that they do. That really sealed the deal there. It's like, I don't have any worries, concerns. They're going to do the right thing.
For me, I think it was definitely the 30-hour sim, because I'd lived in Moon and Mars simulations with people before, and sometimes there's a crew member you might want to kick out. But in this case, there wasn't any of that. We lived together, we operated together, we had fun together, and it really just made me want to do it again. And it got me so excited for when we do it up on orbit.
I remember for me, really specifically, there was a moment. This was my 3rd visit to SpaceX, and I got to sit in on a really long meeting with all the lead engineers of every aspect of the mission, and got to hear their plan for our mission. And And my mom she was at SpaceX too. We got to meet everybody, and at the end of the day, we looked at each other and said, we trust them. I'm in great hands. And we still think so, for sure.
Okay, I think on the phone we have Manuel Asante from Debate.
Hi, how are you? Thank you. Manuel Masanti from Debate. Congratulations to the four of you. This is an incredibly exciting mission. You know that I cover the space program in Spanish. And I know that Haley speaks some Spanish. And it would be so nice to listen to her say a few words. So if you don't mind, Haley, I have two quick questions. Me gustaría que nos cuentes, quizás en representación de los cuatro, cómo se sienten, cuáles son las sensaciones después de 5 meses de entrenamiento y a 24 horas nada más de lanzar mañana en esta increíble misión. Y después sabes que hay una comunidad muy grande de gente que habla en español, no solo en los Estados Unidos, sino en toda Latinoamérica, desde México, Argentina, España, que están siguiendo paso a paso esta misión. Y me quería preguntarte si tenés pensado dar algún mensaje en español cuando estés en órbita. Muchas gracias y felicidades a los cuatro de vuelta.
Pues claro que sí. Y estoy muy, muy, muy emocionada para ir en 24 horas o más. Y claro que sí, que quiero recordar un mensaje en español, porque hay muchas personas que hablan español que me han dado apoyo y que tienen en mi corazón.
I didn't get the last part.
Está muy bien. Esa es nuestra casi última respuesta. That'll be our almost last question. We have our last question coming up right now, but I didn't quite catch if it's in the room or on the floor. Tim Dodd? Hey.
Tim Dodd, the Everyday Astronaut.
Timmy!
Besides you, lovely crew, and everyone up there, the other star of the show obviously has been the cupola. I have 2 more questions about the cupola. First off, Jared, did you know that was an option when you were booking this flight? Did you actually, I mean, that's the selling point right there. Like, that cupola is amazing. Did you know about that? And then the other question I have about it, is there, that mock-up has a beautiful view, would be taken from like the little latch of the camera. Is there actually a camera that will have that view of you guys inside the cupola with Earth in the background? Like, is that going to happen on this mission?
Good questions. Timmy.
So I was not aware that the cupola was in works at the time Inspiration4 was created. It's actually, again, it's one of the other things I'd just like to brag on SpaceX about is that, I mean, that really became, that idea was starting to gain momentum in December, so about a month and a half after Inspiration4 was born. So to see something like aerospace go from a concept through development, through analysis, testing, and be flight ready within essentially 6 months is unheard of, especially something as significant as like the largest continuous window in space. So anyway, super impressive, but not something we knew of at the time, but has been incorporated into our training as we progressed. And the answer is there is a camera. So should have some pretty cool shots.
Hell yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
All right, I think that's going to wrap our briefing for today. First, I want to thank all of the employees of SpaceX and all of your families for your dedication and your sacrifice that brings us to this precipice of right now when we're about ready to go launch this crew. We keep talking about the short amount of time, relatively speaking, that it took for us to get here. And I know the dedication and the whole company appreciates all of the work that everybody has done. I know this crew does. And to the crew, thank you. And thank you again to NASA and the 45th Space Wing and to the FAA. And we look forward to flying you guys tomorrow. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Benji. Thanks for everything.
Not bad. Tim was not there only for 2 questions, right? He'll do a video with him, I think. Yeah, that sounds right. I mean, Benji clearly knows who he is. Yeah. Cool. So those 4 are going to launch tomorrow. So look at your clocks right now. Add 2 hours and 15 minutes to your clock right now. That's the time they're launching tomorrow. So for instance, it's 5:45 for me right now, PM, right? 2 hour 15, 6 plus 2, 8 p.m. Eastern. You ever just sit back and really feel really happy for Tim's success? Sure. Yeah, man. Yeah. Tim's awesome, dude. 3 a.m. My life goal is to get into space. Anyone know you can only go with one kidney? Well, that's part of what they were talking about, dude, to open up the door for everybody else. Nice, Jack. So, Riv, look at your clock. Add 2 hours and 15 minutes to your clock right now. That's the time that it's launching tomorrow. We're 26 hour, 15 minutes out from launch right now. He's gotten a lot smarter and more professional over the years. Oh, yeah. No, Tim's great, man. Yeah, Tim, what he's been able to do, I mean, he parried interviews with Elon. That's fantastic. I don't think I could do that, man. I don't think I'm smart enough to be able to pull that off. To be honest with you, that interview was coggers. Yep. Yeah, that's right, Bradley. He's done a great job. What's the probability of good weather? 80% go right now. Will you be online during the launch? BJ, I stream every launch. I have not missed a SpaceX launch since 2013, man. Watched every single one of them. And the ones that I wasn't here streaming for, I was there at the launch. Sadly, I have a bad lung due to asthma, so I'll probably be unable to go to space. Well, if you tell yourself no, TJ, you're obviously never going to get there. Just saying. If you had to ask Elon one question about Starship, what would you ask? I don't know. Yeah, Mason, I know. Shame. He did, Thomas, yep. Yeah, probably about those payload bay doors, but I know what the question would be. I know what the answer to that would be. Are you going to use shuttle payload bay doors or the chopper? And you know what Elon would say if I asked him right now? I know what he would say. He would say, I don't know. I don't know. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Not concerned with the payload bay doors if the damn tiles don't work, so who cares? That's the answer that I would get. I'm 100% sure of that. If you ask Elon a question that's not pertinent to the thing that he's working on at the moment, he'll be like, I don't know. And that's right, because he's very methodical in how he implements his project management. Work on one thing. Right now, SpaceX's one clear present goal in terms of SpaceX's research and development, right? So if we're talking about Starship, is get that damn pad finished. Get the pad finished. Are you worried about the tiles at all? Didn't the shuttle have lots of issues with tile adhesion? Am I worried about the tiles? No. No, I'm not worried about the tiles, S. Why would I be? Aqua, that's right. I know the answer because of Tim's interview. I would ask about the catch arms. Why? I would ask two questions. What are you working on right now? And base my actual question based on that answer. Yep. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what the question would be. Oh, by the way, here's some space news. I got Kerbalized, by the way. Oh wait, hang on. I gotta put my other hat on. Yeah, I got Kerbalized, by the way. in mission control too. Nice. No beard though. Yeah, I definitely got rid of that the other day. Yep. In the mission control. Yeah, baby. we should make that an emote. I should ask them. I should ask them if I can make that an emote. Do you miss the beard? No. Beards are annoying, dude. Yeah, there, I said it. I know that's that's the super unpopular opinion right now, because beards are, everybody has to be all manly with the damn beard, blah, blah. I don't like it. It's cumbersome. It's annoying. Food gets caught in it. Not a fan. But there's this weird manifestation of for every male streamer on the internet to have a beard. It's very peculiar. It's annoying, it gets in the way, it's coarse, rough, and it gets everywhere. I got Kerbalized. Yep. You're just not manly enough. As if I needed a physical feature to do that. That's hilarious. Thank God I have weak facial hair. The most I could do is sideburns. Yeah, Tessa. Just get some clippers. That's what I do. Just get some clippers and clip it up. I don't like shaving. I find shaving more annoying. Trimmers. Just get clippers and... That's what I do. That Kerbal does not have a mullet, though. That's a very good point. That should be so manly that you don't care about society's standards for manliness. Yeah, I don't really give two craps about that at all, Jonas. Mullets are a mistake? Nah. Good evening, chat. ¿Cómo estás? Estoy bien, ¿y tú? Yeah, there was a Spanish question. He basically, the guy, I mean, I got bits and pieces. I'm not fluent in Spanish, but the guy basically asked, you know, how do you feel 24 hours out from the launch, give or take? What do you have to say to the people in the United States and all over the world that speak Spanish? And I didn't get the last question. Tried them, boss. Still too lazy to use them twice a day. Whatever. Have fun with carpet on your face, I guess. Can you link the translate? Well, it was spoken, so no, I cannot. No puedo. The Inspiration4 Q&A stream took more question than both Virgin Galactic and Blue Origin's flights combined. Scott with the savage tweet. Kerbal U needs to do a supersonic retropropulsion tutorial. Supersonic retropropulsion. Have you seen the new Orion renders? I have not. Oh. Well, that's nice. Well, that's nice. Let's go back to the space and rocket review. Supersonic retropropulsion. Balsa stream when? When I have some time. Alright, let's see what we got. Bazinga. Also, it'd make a good source for sustenance in times of scarcity. Warm in the winter makes it really hard to judge where my chin is and if you take a swing at you. Okay. That's the Gary. Who's the newest addition to Mission Control in the way back? The Gary. The Gary, that's Gary Lay. He's the chief engineer for Blue Origin's New Shepard rocket. He never stops talking. That's why I put him in the back. Yeah, Gary, his name's Gary. Yeah, he's the New Shepard. So the rocket that Jeff Bezos flew on, up and down, that's the guy that designed it. Get him out of here. This is the Orbit Club. He won't stop talking, man. He never shuts up. Gary, Gary, are you amazed at this launch? Oh yeah, I'm really impressed. It's awesome. All right, add your Bezos. I still think you're missing a very important addition. Das and Rocket Kai are honorary members. Gary wears his heart on his sleeve. He does. Yes. You sent me the picture? Huh? Where? What picture? I must have missed that. I don't know, Jeff. I must have missed that. Has it? Red card. Red card? No, I saw him go off and I thought he putting a sub on. Discord? Oh, yes. The Firefly mission controller. Yes. We should do that. Yes. Yep. We should. Yeah. We should figure out a way to do that. I forgot that was a thing. You forgot what was a thing. Cammy, get your fingers out. No. I thought it someone go over. I thought he was putting a sub on. Still 0-0. I don't know, Jeff. I don't know. Still funny. That's still funny. I don't know. Oh my God. Tessa, have you seen in Ted Lasso where Roy Kent is on with Jeff and Chris on Sky? Oh, it's so funny, dude. Something like that, S-Master, maybe. Can we get the guy with the solar panel hat in there? I don't know. Maybe. All right, we got some new renders of the Orion capsule. Let's check these out. This is coming from NASA's Flickr. How are they going to make passenger trips? You'd have to be in top physical shape, yeah? Blaming, it would be no more. You're not spending long periods of time in space for suborbital hops like that, right? So if you're going like Earth to Earth with a starship, you wouldn't spend that much time in space. You would have no more stringent medical requirements than going on like a thrill ride at an amusement park. So no, not really. It's spending long periods of time in space where you really need to be physically fit. Astronauts and cosmonauts that are up there work out 2 hours every day to maintain muscle mass because you can get muscle atrophy, and also muscle atrophy is huge because you could come back down and your heart will have to work so hard to make your legs work that you could go into cardiac arrest, which is not ideal. And also, there's bone marrow up there. You got to keep your body strong. That's why you need to be in peak physical condition for lasting on orbit for long periods of time. Earth to Earth hops, not so much. 2 hours a day, Bino. Oh yeah. That's the worst kind of arrest. Oh. Very nice. I hope we have a camera like this. Nice pictures of Orion. That capsule is very coggers. Yep. Orion's a good piece of equipment. Good bit of kit right there. I'm laughing at all the people going insane over the Falcon going to the visitor center. Little do people know there will be 2. These pictures are sweet, dude.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Very nice. Kuro, 33 months. What's an orbit? I'm so happy EJ found coggers. It's very coggers. Almost done. We're almost at that point where this is one piece in real life. Almost. Oh. Oh, hello. Oh, hello. Very coggers. Yeah, those are jigs to weld the pressure vessels together. Ooh. That's very coggers. Hello. Look at that. One piece. That's one piece milled. Frick you, that's one piece milled. That's unbelievable. That's one piece of aluminum. That's so cool. Or excuse me, aluminum. Yep. Just to piss everybody off. That's pretty cool, man. Which pressure vessel is this? Yeah, that capsule is finished. They finished welding the pressure vessel the other day. Nice. Aluminum. Nice. Aluminum. Yep. You could tell it's a spaceship because of the way it is. And you know what? That's pretty neat. Yep. There's the bottom part of the pressure vessel right there. That's a lot of waste if they aren't bending it first. Waste? What do you mean waste? You recycle that. Who cares? Aluminum is super recyclable. All the stuff that they take off, they just send it back and they make it into new aluminum chunks. No, not aluminium, not aluminum. Aluminum, okay? Aluminum. When is the first Orion reuse plan for? Orion can be reused. I don't know what they have for the plan. I don't know what the plan is. Billet or Riot? It's Billet, dude. That thing's Billet, man. Aluminge. Aluminge? We'll just call it that from now on, Vasya. All in your mom. Got him. All right. So, I hope you guys enjoyed the Inspiration4 presser. Let's see what else we got. There are 2 more regular space news things, and then we have the we have Starship stuff. A lot of videos. I think 3 new videos to keep up with NASA spaceflight. They post a lot, man. 3. 2 of them are shorter though, so let's get that one up. Let's go over here. Let's get that one up. Give me one moment. Okay, one of them is a Starship update from Ian. Ian, you want me to play the Starship update? I need to tell my friends to correct the way they say it now. Yeah, do it. Do it. Yep. Aluminage. I don't know if Ian's here. He was here a second ago. But, okay, so there's only 2. There's two videos. So here's the first bit to cap off the space news here. Check it out. So this is coming from Chris B over at NASA Spaceflight. Let's see. Space Hub Sutherland cleared for a UK Pathfinder launch after the Scottish Land Court gave the green light to the development of the Space Hub in Sutherland. The court ruled that it was in public interest of the development of the launch complex to go ahead. This is Scotland's launch site in the north part of the UK. You need to put that French into Google Translate for a laugh. A laughinum? Wasted tooling durability. Yeah, that's because you clearly know more than NASA about milling capsules, right? Alright. Okay, so the next bit of news here is coming from Axiom. Axiom posted this infographic on their Twitter. Let's see what we got here. Building the world's first commercial space station. AXH1 in 2024. HAB1, HAB2. AXL, the logistics module. AXPT, power tower. And yeah, Axiom, that'll form Axiom Station. So we got a bunch of modules here. These modules will be added to the ISS, pretty much doubling the size of it. Pretty cool. And then when the ISS is over, they'll separate the station. They'll separate this, and it'll be a private space station. This is pretty cool. I mean, they probably bend it. Okay. They don't. It's milled, dude. The whole thing is milled. You gotta go on Twitter. There's Orion engineers that post pictures of them milling the panels. They don't bend it. It's subtractive manufacturing. That one piece with the windows in it is billet because of the windows, dude. Here's my question, though. Why add to the ISS if it's going to be destroyed very soon? These will uncouple and be their own space station after smoked. It's a good anchor point in space in case anything goes wrong. You have a way you can go to the other part of the space station and be okay. Well, I mean, like ULA, they mill it and they bend it for Vulcan. For stages. Stages and capsules are two different things, man. Interesting times to see the progression of space, no doubt. That's days of machining. Oh yeah, one-piece billet, dudes. I'm telling you, you can go find the footage. But yeah, Axiom posted that infographic. Basically, the name. This is the first time we ever heard the names of the modules. So they got a hub module, which looks like it has a toroidal service module, and then multi-axis nodes here with common berthing mechanisms on it. What is the cost of Orion compared to SLS? I don't know. I don't have that exact number off the top of my head. Just checking, did I post a video the right place in Discord when you get a minute? The sound video, Jesse? Yeah, that was a direct message to me. Yeah. Axiom, I'm particularly proud of my namesake with these plans. I like this plan. I'm happy to be a part of it. No, in your Discord. You just post it to the aerospace channel, Jesse. That should be fine. Yeah, other space news? Yeah, that's fine. The fog, though. Jesse, that fog sucks. You might like this video. You son of a gun, I'm in. Yeah. Machining the Orion. Yeah, let me see. Yeah, they're machining the cylindric section there. S, get a load of this, dude. I mean, this is the cylindric section, but yeah, take a look. Look at that. You've got to be kidding me. Dude, I knew that the window was milled. I didn't realize the entire cylindric section is a milled iso-grid, which is, or ortho-grid, which is just bananas, dude. It's an ortho grid, if I'm remembering right, Hellfish. Let me see, Thomas. Yeah, right, Ariana? Listen to that. Oh. Look at it, man. It's one piece. Oh, that is so cool. That's one piece of aluminum. Freaking billet pressure vessel. You gotta be kidding me. I mean, it's gonna be the strongest. You know it won't. It'll put up with anything. At least that part. The drill is very coggers. That's right. Why not cast it? I don't know. I don't know, Jeff. I don't know. I'm not sweeping that up. They'll use the coolant to wash it down into the channel down here. I pronounced it wrong. What did I pronounce wrong? Aluminum. There you go. One word. Porosity. Yeah, I can make up words too, Hellfish, like looped it. Boom. Obviously. Look at this, man. It's freaking one piece, dude. You gotta be kidding me. Where's the zoomed out view? Aluminio. Sí. Me gusta aluminio. Ingersoll. That's a sweet mill. Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, right, Cerebral? What is this drill for? This is the pressure vessel for Orion. The reason why I'm geeking out, guys, is because this started as one block of aluminum, or aluminum, excuse me. It started as one block as that. This is all one piece. It's one piece, which is freaking insane. It was a block of aluminum that was out here. And this thing has been cutting away at it and making it into this shape. It's subtractive manufacturing. And before, I know people that know nothing about machining are going to be like, oh my God, that's such a waste of aluminum. No, all these aluminum flakes go down into the cooling channels down here. They go into that cooling channel and they actually get recycled. Aluminum is super recycled. Just because you milled it off of a piece of aluminum doesn't mean that oh, it's junk now. No. They'll send this right back to the factory. The schleem is then repurposed for later batches. Unbelievable. Very, very cool. The drill bit knows where it is. It knows this because it knows where it isn't. By subtracting where it is from where it isn't, the drill bit has acquired a variation. That can also be corrected by the GEA. Alright, so here, let's get into the Starship stuff. Let's see what's going on down in Boca Chica. This footage is coming from Nick and Sweeney over at NASA Spaceflight here. Make sure you go over and support NASA Spaceflight when you can. To make sure they keep producing content like this. Maybe go over buy a t-shirt. Maybe one hop. Go to 116, that beautiful 5-axis in motion. Alright, let me see. Different link. Technique. I was gonna say that is impressive. What do you want me to see here, my dear? The Madeira Festival. Ow. Can you not? Bro, that's awesome. That's so cool. They're spraying coolant on it to keep the aluminum nice and cold, because if you machine aluminum, if you go too much depth per cut, you're gonna warp it. You can't warp it. This thing has to stay true. It has to be very, very precise. Erwin, really? Really? Really, dude? Come on now. Man, that thing is cool. Dude, I love machining. I could watch this all day. Look at how they put the stringers. So, look. They have a diagonal, well, not diagonal. They have the concentric stringers right here, and then you have stringers that form a box right there. Can anybody tell me why? Why would you want that right there? Well, why go from here to here to here to there? For extra strength. From what? Cooling? Nope. Engine mount? Partial credit. Orion's integration points to the heat shield are here, 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 and here. That's where the load is being carried from the service propulsion module, from the ESM, to Orion. They reinforced those hold down points, and then they crossed it right there and right there to make it strong. And how they integrated that in with the concentric ortho grid is freaking, that's impressive, dude. That's an impressive piece of machinery right there. What part of Orion is this? This is the bottom of the pressure vessel. So Orion is made in a couple of different pieces. You saw the, so if we looked at Orion's pressure vessel like this, there's a box section, there's the bottom piece, right? And then there's the top piece like this, right? The top piece is made out of sections that look like this. And one of them has the windows on it, right? Right? And then they'll take those 4 segments, right? And they'll make this piece right here. Then below that, you have a concentric ring section. That was the first video that we saw, right? You have the concentric ring section like that. That's the cylindric part. And then you have the bottom piece that plugs into the bottom of the ring section. That's what that is right there. So when this all comes together, you have this, right? You have the conic section, you have your concentric section, or cylindric, I should say, not concentric. And then you have the bottom section like that. And then if you overlay how the capsule looks, there you go. That's the pressure vessel. It's a little bent. Please excuse the crudity of this drawing. I didn't have time to draw it to scale or to paint it. See that? The heat shield would be down here. The heat shield is resting up against this piece that we saw being milled right there. That's the aft bulkhead that is on Orion that's going to fly later this year. This might help you. Yeah, there you go. There's your pieces. What is Orion? It's the spacecraft that NASA astronauts are going to use to get back to the moon. Look at that, man. Oh no, it's in thirds, not fourths. Crazy. Forward bulkhead. You got the tunnel for the docking port, right? And then you have the 3 cone panels. One of them has the windows, the other one has the hatch, the other one is blank. Probably the umbilicals, if I had to guess. And then you have the barrel, and then you have the aft bulkhead. A lot of space in there. Cool. Pretty cool, man. It is. That's one piece. That's unbelievable. Really, really neat. Anyway, let's get into the Starship video. Let's see. Yeah, that kind of conic section where the barrel is and where the pod is, that's where they put all the thrusters. Life support is on the aft bulkhead, if I'm remembering correctly, yes. The Eclipse, you want to keep Eclipse inside of the pressure vessel, so if something goes wrong with it, you can just open up a hatch and be like, oh, gotta fix that. Same reason why, like, a fuse box for a car is, you know, sometimes it's inside, sometimes it's in the engine compartment. It's mostly fog, not gonna lie. You need a lot of space if you're gonna spend months in there. Orion can only really last up on orbit with 4 people inside by itself, forlorn, for about 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, something like that. If it's plugged into a station, the consumables go. I mean, Orion can operate by itself with nobody on it for like 200 days. It's something really absurd. It's basically a satellite built into with a pod built into it. And if you plug that into something like the ISS or Gateway, it can be you can go even longer than that. They purposely designed it to have really long on-orbit operations. Why the hell would you do that? Well, if you're using something to get to the moon, that's probably a good place to start. Making something, oh, I don't know, last in space for a long period of time, that would be probably important. Just saying. Star people. Arby's, Rabis, Base, Ace, it. Sorry. Star base. So this is the gas well lot over here. They've been loading LN2 into the propellant production plant over there on the left, that white structure. And then there's SN15 and SN16. They're just basically sitting on the side of the road. Buttery biscuit base. I love the base knowledge. They build the cryo shells behind. That's a tree. They build the cryo shells behind that. There's some other trees right there. They're pretty nice. Those are the cryo shells for the launch pad. This is a truck. It has non-potable water in it. You can tell it has non-potable water in it because of the way that it is. I know, Ariana, right? I always kind of attribute this to like Watto's junkyard. But it definitely does have some farming vibes to it for sure. Must be the grain silos. Could they use 15 and 16 as storage? For what, Chris? Non-potable water means don't drink it, yeah. Yep. It looks like the propellant plant is pretty much getting ready to go here. Like I said, they were loading liquid nitrogen into this thing to I would only imagine they were loading LN2 into it to prime the system somehow, like I don't know. Keep something cold maybe? Here's some gigantic hydraulic actuators right there. What is non-potable H2O? Water that's it's water that you would use to like put in the radiator of a car. Your car can drink it just fine, but you can't drink it. It's non-filtered water. It poop again. Yeah. If SpaceX designed a capsule to meet Orion requirements, how different would it be? It would be Starship, Neuro. Starship? Very different. Starship is supposed to be able to do everything that Orion can do, and more. So, it would be very different, dude. I know what you mean, though. I don't know. I don't know if SpaceX would ever go with a jettisonable service module. Who knows? I mean, but then again, if you took Dragon's trunk and gave it a service propulsion system, you gave it an SPS, right? Who knows? Who knows? Give it that instead of the trunk. Now you can go to the moon and stuff, you know? In Russia, we call it technical water. There's the dynamic test simulator for boosters. There's 15. That thing flew, dudes. That one's been up there. Not to space, but it's been up there. Use the Dragon trunks as tugs. Well, Bauxy, at that point, you just use the whole capsule as a tug. The trunk, I don't know, maybe it would be autonomous, maybe not. In Scotland, we call it English tap water. Ooh, savage. Yeah, that thing flew and landed. 16 never flew. It's not finished. Interestingly enough. That begs the question then, could Falcon Heavy get dragged into the moon? Spiffy! Spiffy has arrived. What's up? In America, we call it Michigan. Ooh. Just got off work. Did I miss KSP? No. I mean, maybe a little, but I didn't get much done. Bird. Champy. So this is the build site. Yeah, there's a barrel section for the HLS mock-up. We haven't seen them do anything with that, but there's a good reason for that. There you go, Genders. Nice. That's the vehicle stabilization system, from what I understand. VSS. Yeah, see? It's definitely a VSS. They put a damper on it. See it? That's a shock absorber. That's what the VSS is supposed to do. It's supposed to dampen out the movement from the first stage being stacked onto the pad. And there's clearly a latch and hook mechanism right there, or a latching mechanism to latch it to the quick disconnect arm. I would like to purchase that mock-up HLS cone. Any ideas? It's not for sale. That's the idea. Of course, Hellfish. Yeah, probably. Yeah, predominant. It's pretty awesome. On a pretty insane scale here. Yep, see? Damper arm right there. That's a big hydraulic shock absorber. Because once again, the booster, the wind's going to try to take the booster. They'll put the shock absorber on it to dampen that out. No, Ryan. It's still on for 2021. Don't let anybody tell you differently until NASA says something different. So this thought just popped in my head. The HLS nose cone and SN2 are the only surviving 301 stainless articles SpaceX ever made. Huh. Interesting tidbit. Yeah, Euro, right? It's the booster. There's a new booster in there. That's booster number 5. That's the middle of it, though, which is weird. That's the middle of the booster. So there's the LOX autogenous pressurization lines. Sure, fine. You can't vent methane into the atmosphere. That SpaceX actually has a collection system to prevent that from happening. They have a recondenser that's run off of solar power. There's the ground tracking station. They stack from the common bulkhead down, and then they stack the top tank down. That's a weird way to do that, but I'm sure there's a good reason for that weird way. So it's still November. Yep. Don't let anybody tell you anything different until NASA does. Is that a Chick-fil-A taco truck? You know what I mean. Chick-fil-A food trailer. Hey, Ernock. All right, here's the... Holy crap. Here's the launch site, man. Oh, Wikipedia says net December 2021. Oh, okay. It feels like stuff is way too close to the pad if something goes wrong. You're just misjudging the scale, dude. It's like 100 meters away from the pad. It's about 300 feet. That's a long way. Welcome to the taco truck. Buckner. Buckner, heavy lift. That's a lot of counterweight, man. Each one of those things with a red triangle on them, each one of these is 22,000 pounds. So, do the math. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So that's 150,000 kilos, so like 330,000 pounds, and he has that on each side. So that's like, little ways over 500,000 pounds of counterweight right there. That should tell you how heavy those cryo shells are. Easily liftable. Betrayal, Richard. Yeah, no. Yeah, that should tell you about how heavy one of those cryo shells are. Booster 4 on the orbital launch mount. Yep. Cryo shells. Cryo. Cold. Dang. Still too close if something goes wrong. Still lighter than your mom. Oh! Maybe lighter than your girlfriend, S. Woo! Ooh, them's fighting words. Zing! That's the girlfriend is light. She's inflatable. What the heck? No, 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 stop that. No, bad. I'm like, what? Oh. I don't know what that means, Boris, but all right. There's the catcher arms right there. And they brought the crane down because there's a tropical storm approaching. Yep, okay, they said that right there. The winds from Tropical Storm Nicholas. Did you watch the rocket launch at Yeah, Mauser, the rocket launch at Vandenberg last night? Yeah, of course, dude. Great launch. Couldn't see much because of the fog, but I mean, watching the webcast, it was fine. There's 20. No, you shush, Flankin. Jeez. The thing Boris is talking about is some Rule 8 related things. Since Eric Berger and Rogozin went at it and turned into US Rule 8 real quick. Yeah, okay. Yeah, no, I read that thread yesterday. I was wondering if someone was going to bring it up on stream today, but yeah, it gets a little spicy. You guys want to cover that? Maybe we'll do it as an afterthought for Space News. Those grid fins wide open don't cause drag or lower performance when they launch Booster 4 to orbit. Dennis, they probably do something, but it's a hypersonic control surface, dude. So when the grid fins are in the zeroed position, like this, i.e. if they're not doing this, air passes right through them. Yeah, it's not really that big of a problem. If you look at the grid fins, did they show a close-up of that thing? If you look at the grid fins, all right, it's an interesting thing to understand here, okay? Do you see how the bottom of the grid fin is pointed and the top is flat? See that? Well, that's because, once again, these are hypersonic control surfaces, meaning they're designed to control the booster when it's going faster than Mach 5. Hypersonic control surface, not supersonic control surfaces, not subsonic control surfaces. These are designed to steer the booster when it's coming back from space, right? The reason that these grid fins work so well is because of the pointed bottom like that. The pointed bottom actually pierces the air in such a way that vectors air through the waffle iron, okay? Now, on the way up, the top of this is flat, right? So on the way up, it doesn't do that as much. The air will go right through it. It'll pass through it like water through a screen because of those pointed edges. Those pointed edges are actually what makes the control surface do. And if they're pointed in the wrong direction, then the control surfaces basically aren't doing anything. They are going to cause a little bit of drag, right? They're going to cause a little bit. Of course they are. But it's negligible amounts, dude. It would be no more than having, a big pipe or a raceway on the side of the vehicle. Seriously, it's not going to cause much more than that. Because, okay, so think about it like this. Those grid fins are big. They are huge for you and me. They're about the size of a semi-truck. But compare that to the scale of the rocket. How much surface area of the oncoming air, if you were looking at the stack from the top, right? The folded wings from Starship, right? And you're looking at the big nose cone. How much of that surface area, if you're looking at the vehicle from the front, how much of that surface area is grid fin? Not a lot. Not a lot of surface area. No, not at all. It's not a lot. It's a negligible amount. It will cause drag, of course. Everything that flies through the air causes drag in some way, shape, or form, but it's not going to be that big of a deal. That's because of the pointy edges. Pointy edges are really what's going to zero that out. Think about the control surface like on a 747. When it's in the centered position, it's not going to do anything. It won't cause much more drag than if it was than anything else, right? But if it's up like this, or if it's actually controlling, then it's gonna move the air around. Like side mirrors on a semi, pretty much. Yep. You're not gonna get much increased drag coefficient from these things. Yeah. Watching animals at the zoo be stupid. Ugh. So, yeah, no, not much. Don't get me wrong. They will cause drag. Everything that flies through the air, a bullet flying through the air, which is pretty damn aerodynamic, about as aerodynamic as you can get, that still causes drag. A javelin being thrown through the air will cause some drag. It's not a lot, but it'll cause some. Everything that flies through the air is making drag. Even wings. Wings make drag, but they make more lift than drag. That's why wings wing. That's Bernoulli's principle. Very, very important to understand. Can the booster remain on the pad if a hurricane does develop on shore? Well, Jairus, that's what that vehicle stabilization system is. That's what this is for. It's for that exact reason. This thing is going to hold the booster in place, and it has shock absorbers on the catcher arms, so the booster can just wiggle out, and any windage that will move the thing will just get dampened out by these shock absorbers here. That's exactly what it is. It's a hydraulic damper. Like on a car. A car is a closed loop hydraulic damper. That's it. This is a heads up for our college folks here. Oh, pretty cool. Thanks, sir. Yep, no problem. Grove. A hair causes drag, that's right. A little more on the Lockheed Martin lunar stuff. Interesting, Thomas. This is mainly to dull the harmonics of the wind, right? Less about the full-on direct force of the wind. Yeah, fast fly. I guess if you wanted to be a little more technical about it, yeah, I'd just say the wind because I like keeping things general. It's windage, and also the big thing is that you can't stack a starship on top of a first stage that's doing this. You can't go to align the thing and have the thing do this. But yeah, pretty much, if you wanted to be technical, yeah. I mean, wind makes stuff do this. It's not just vibrations, it makes things swing. Grove Street, home. At least it wasn't until I messed everything up. And then there's the catcher arms and the trolley right there. Thing's gonna be insane. It's gonna be absolutely insane. With 29 engines, will there be any problems with the piping? I'm sure they'll have some kind of goal to overcome, Ryan. Nobody's ever run that complicated of plumbing in a long time. The last time someone did that complicated of plumbing, last time somebody did that, it didn't end well. Having a lot of engines work off of a fuel manifold like that didn't end too well. So there are certainly a lot of goals. Certainly a lot of goals with this, or a lot of challenges to overcome to achieve SpaceX's goals. But the way SpaceX is very cavalier about solving those problems tells me that they'll probably get it. Also, take a look over here. See right above the C in Boca Chica right here, the second C, Chica right there. See the top? There's fuel lines right there. Those are fuel lines, liquid methane and liquid oxygen lines going up and over. That's for Starship fueling. The piece to fuel Super Heavy is right there. See that? That thing is, it looks like it's a trapezoid, right? Because it does this. It wiggles back and forth. My guess is that SpaceX is probably going for a standardized umbilical. I'm going to go ahead and guess that they'll probably take another one of these and put it on top of the quick disconnect. In fact, let's go look at the QD and let's see if there's any brackets on top of this thing for stuff to mount to it. Yep. Yes. Okay. See those vertical brackets right there? I'm going to go ahead and bet that probably is something. That's right, Mutter. See those two triangular tabs right there? Give it a couple, maybe a month, Zeep. Yeah, it looks like they'll probably add another umbilical for Starship. And that's what the pipes will be connected to another umbilical up there. Right, Cerebral? Yep. So Starship 20 is on the left and Booster 3 is on suborbital pad A. They did do a static fire with this, with a couple of engines, and then they promptly scrapped the booster. There's, yeah, Starhopper. It is, T-Man. This is our Apollo program. That, and well, actually, we get 2 Apollo programs. We get a public and a private Apollo program. Tile City Builder, yeah. 20 looks like it's all but done. It looks like they replaced most of the tiles, yeah. This thing right here, see that thing? That tall thing, that's this guy. That's going to space. You know, Jeb willing. They're going to take this, and they're going to put it on that, and they're going to try to send it into space because they want to test out their tile system. There is no ArcJet in the world that would be able to test out the tiles like this. They're going to have to send one. So that's pretty insane. When is that going to happen, Songtan? I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't know. I'd say a month. We're at the very least. This is a very least at a month out. Sometime maybe in October at the rate that SpaceX is going at. Something like that, T-Man. Yeah, it's tough to understand the scale until you see guys walking around on the pad next to this stuff. It is an incomprehensible scale. For this first flight, will everything be expected? Everything. What? What do you... will everything be expended? Yes. Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, Ryan, yeah. Yep. Super Heavy will fall out in the Gulf of Mexico somewhere, and then Starship's going to come down. It's going to do one orbit and then come down over near Hawaii, out in the middle of nowhere where nobody's around because it might break up during re-entry. They don't know for sure. The FAA needs 2 months after the report, and the report is not finished yet. How do we know the report already hasn't been filed? So November at the latest? Yeah, maybe. Oh, hey. Oh yeah, the public comment thing. Yeah, you're right. And keep in mind, guys, I said at least a month. I didn't say it's going to launch in October. It's going to be at least a month, at the very least. So I'm not saying it's October. You know, for all the people that are like, well, no, it's not October because I know about this. Shh, that's not what I said. Next video. Where it continues on the catcher arms right here. See, what chat doesn't realize when they do stuff like that, what chat doesn't realize that if I say it's going to launch in December, a bunch of people will say, no, it's going to be October. And if I say it's going to launch in October, a bunch of people are going to be like, no, it's December. I'm damned if I do, damned if I don't. So I say net October, and you guys completely missed it and said, no, it's going to be December anyway. Just saying. Hopefully we get a lot of it fast fly. I'm not sure how much it'll be streamed. Hopefully we get more than a NASA mission. It's going to launch in November, February. Jan. Lie. Serious. Guys just chilling up there on the launch tower. Man, we gotta place these dang old pipes here, boy. I tell you, it ain't gonna move propane, but it's gonna move methane, which is almost like propane. It's very similar. They both have pain in the name and will cause you pain if you don't use it. Oh, that's a mun. No, I haven't, Boris. Yeah, good, right? Dude, I'm with you on that one. It's ridiculous, man. Look at the people. The people are about half the size of my mouse cursor that are on those on the man baskets. Yeah, okay, W. Did anybody know what the tiles are made of? Yeah. So they're tough and unifibrous reinforced oxidation resistant composite. Called Tough Rock for short. TUFROC. It's kind of like a Mark II shuttle tile. It's semi-silicate, but it's a composite too. So there's all kinds of weird stuff in there. Basically designed to be a more lightweight shuttle tile. The X-37B, Boeing's shuttle that the Space Force uses, has Tough Rock tiles. They're very good. They can resist a very, 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 very large amount of heat. I sent you a link in Discord to explain why I have so much venom towards Delaware North. Okay. I don't know, Kuro. Probably not. I live in Winnipeg. Starship Stack is about as tall as the tallest building. The tower and crane are even taller. It's hard to understand that scale. Yep. I'm just going to make up random words to sound smart, like supersonic retro propulsion. Serious, I'm partially convinced that you just like using the typers emote. Typers emote. I'm convinced you just want to use the typers emote, dude. Hobby's home. Time to make foods. Have a good stream. All right, Jesse. What makes you think that? All right, here's another shot of the trolley and the crane here, dude. Look at the people standing on the launch tower, the OLM. Not launch tower, the orbital launch mount. That's unbelievable, dude. Look at the scale here. The scale is what gets me. I'm obsessed with scale. That's my favorite. Thank you for the explanation. So cool to learn so much on the stream. That's what I do. Yeah, there's the trolley right there. I'm still trying to figure out how this is going to mount to that. I'm still... Wind noise. Still trying to figure that one out. It's like Peppo G, but animated. Can you imagine when we have like 4 of these in Boca? You can't tempt me with a good time, bruh. Begin free is partially scrapped. SN20's on the suborbital pad, right? Sure, Tessa. That's not the claw, S. This thing right here is the trolley. This is the thing that's going to ride up and down the side of the fixed service structure. And then at the bottom down here, there's 2 huge slots for the catcher arms. The reason why they want to do this is the reason why they have 2 huge hinges down here for the catcher arms is so they can, like, if the catcher arms are, say the pad is right here and the catcher arms are right here, they can pivot the arms over here so they can catch the booster while it's not over the pad and then pivot it into position and then put it down on the pad. This is the trolley that's going to carry that whole mechanism right there. Dude, it is wild stuff. This is ridiculous. Like, I'll say it once, I'll say it again. This is insane. This is absolutely insane. It's absolutely nutty. It's a freaking... We're talking about a trolley, like an elevator. It's basically like an elevator catching something falling from a building. It's unbelievable. Stevo, what's Coggers good? I honestly don't know how the heck that trolley with these small light arms is supposed to be the base of the whole catch system. Yeah, I don't know, man. This doesn't look strong enough to be able to hold that thing over there, but I don't know for sure. Booster 3 was scrapped. Booster 4 is on the pad. Sorry, I thought you meant 3. 3 is scrapped. 4 is sitting on the pad. You just saw it a second ago. I mean, Alex, it's gonna be something. It's gonna be something, that's for sure. Going to be 2 sets of trolley arms, huh? Well, you got to remember, you got to remember, guys, that the first thing that they were going to do is try to just land the booster directly onto the pad, which that is very, very, very difficult to do that right. Really, really tough. Yeah. Honestly, catching the booster would be easier than trying to land it directly back onto the pad. Catching the booster would be way easier. Yeah, there's your hydraulic damper right there. I'm not sure how that hooks into anything else, which is weird. Huh. Huh. Very coggers, indeed. I mean, Alex, I don't think that catching the okay, dude, I'm not an aerospace engineer by any means, dude. What is that? I'm not an AE by any means. With what I know about aerospace, I know that catching the booster is possible. It's possible, but it's very difficult. SpaceX is basically playing the ultimate game of ball in a cup. You know the thing. You have the handle with the bowl up here, and then you have the string with the ball attached, and you have to get the ball into the cup. They're playing the ultimate version of ball in a cup. Ball in a cup. I read books. Yes, I'll have you know, Sirius, I do plenty of reading on the internet. No, Mr. Bucket is different, Brad. No, Mr. Bucket's different. To be honest, I'm not sure how the catch system in general is supposed to work. I'll just default to EricX's animation. That's the best one. So EricX is a user on Twitter. Oh, you got a message. Might be important. So here, stand by for Cyberpunk. Here, check this out. That's the idea. Catching the ship, though? Yeah, Boxy, yeah, I don't know. Will they have a landing abort system? Yeah, the landing abort system is that the booster just hits the ground, basically. Well, the idea, Defiant, is that with a larger booster, it's easier to control. You can do a more precise landing with a larger booster. That's true. Pendulum. You know? So, with the bigger booster, you can increase your accuracy because it's a lot easier to be precise with this because you have the momentum because the thing is so big. You know? Think balancing a broom on a finger versus balancing a pencil. Exactly. It's like if you play Flight Simulator, it's like how flying a 747 is very nice, very easy compared to like a 320neo or like an extra 300. The extra, you move the thing, it's like, you know, average pilot enjoyer is the extra 300 going, and then there's the average aviation appreciator, which is the 747 just. I don't know, Admana. New Shepard landings versus Falcon 9 floating, yeah, that's another pretty applicable thing. I'm mostly seeing an extra pile of moving parts that all have to work right. Yeah. What's up, Bandit? What the hell? Interesting. I'm also seeing an extra pile of moving parts that all have to work right. Okay, how would you do it? You're trying to land a 22-story building. How would you do it? Put landing legs on it? You got to understand why SpaceX is trying to do that way, Defiant. I think that's a very self-defeating way of thinking. Oh, I just see a bunch of things that can fail. Yeah, well, SpaceX says you're wrong. Like, and don't get me wrong, Elon isn't infallible when it comes to this stuff. But what they're trying to do, it's important to understand context here. SpaceX is trying to basically treat a rocket like an airplane, minimal turnaround. So airplanes have the benefit of having wheels on them, so they can taxi to a gate, right? Rockets can't do that. So you basically have to land at the gate, so to speak, right? That's the quickest way to be able to turn that rocket around, to get a rocket ready to, say, oh, I don't know, fly twice in one day, right? That's the easiest way to do that. That's why they're doing it this way. And dude, it is a challenging thing to solve. Very difficult. Very difficult. Oh yeah. Nobody ever said that it wasn't. But, you know, people, you know, you sit here and say, oh, I just see extra moving parts. All right. The same argument could be made about a jetway. Oh, a jetway at an airport, I just see an extra bunch of moving parts. Why not just use a staircase? Well, the jetway is quicker. See what I'm talking about? The reason why they're trying to catch that sucker is they can put it right back on the pad and fly it again. The main issue with the 747 comparison is that the 747 is naturally stable in flight. A booster, bottom heavy, coming down with small horizontal velocity, sensible, that's susceptible to horizontal winds and much less stable, that's harder to land with precision. I didn't compare a 747 to super heavy. I compared a 747 to an extra 300. That's why it's an analogy, not a comparison. See what else we got. Objection withdrawn. It's all right, man. I'll chalk that up to the language barrier. And once again, Defiant, like, don't get me wrong. If people look at that animation that Urkex did, and you look at that and you say, how the heck are you going to do that? That's like, what? I don't blame you. I don't blame you. That's really, 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 really tough. That's a really tough problem to solve. Doesn't the booster need some checks before the next flight? So does an airplane. BY? Yeah, of course. So does an airplane. But check it right on the pad. Right? Like, 66 years separate these two pictures. Yep. That's right, Von Zister. The animation, the graphic, little graphic there has wings on it. Interesting. I would guess Forlorn, yep. Next scene. Oh. There's the fuel lines. Liquid oxygen, liquid methane. LOX is on the right. Methane is on the left. Methane's the smaller line because of the fuel ratio. The ideal ratio, the liquid fuel to oxidizer ratio that SpaceX is going for is oxidizer, more oxidizer rich. So the LOX line is just a little bit. So the LOX line is a little bit bigger than the methane line. These umbilicals here will go up through the stabilization system, right? And when Starship is right here, stacked on top, they'll go up to Starship up here above Super Heavy. Do they reuse the scrap themselves? I'm guessing they send it back to the stainless steel place, Foz, and then they give them new rolls of steel. They clearly recycle the stuff. There's stainless steel recycling bins all over the place. How do I know they're stainless steel recycling bins? Because they say they're stainless steel recycling bins on the side. Yeah. You can tell it's a stainless steel recycling bin because of the way it is. And you know what? That's pretty neat. Almost done. Man, that looks pretty. Oh, it's gonna be so rad, dude. Oh, it's gonna be so damn cool. Yeah, it looks like they got most of them repaired, dude. So cool. Yo, what's going on with the tiles right there? Look at that. What's that? There's a bunch of weird shaped tiles right there. You guys see that? Yeah, I know. Yeah, Buck, you're not wrong. GPS antenna location covered by tiles. Burst disk? Yeah, maybe. Covering the access hatch. You think it's the GPS? Woody Woodpecker. I wouldn't name this one that, Buck. When the vehicle is more fleshed out. Yeah. Oh yeah. Let's do it. Actually, I do have a question about BFR and Starship. Hit me, Defiant. Does the booster also have tiles, or it's just the upper stage? Just the upper stage. The booster doesn't need tiles. The stainless steel can withstand the re-entry heat, because you got to remember, first stage, it's only going up and coming right back down. It never goes anywhere near orbital velocity. Because it never goes anywhere near orbital velocity, it's not going to when it comes back down, it's not going to create as much re-entry heating. So yeah, no tiles on that. There will probably be some form of thermal protection system on Super Heavy at some point. That's my guess. But for right now, stainless steel will work just fine. Also, are they saying they're going to be flying Starship once a day or the booster? Yes. SpaceX's goal is to get that thing to work like an airplane. You can fly an airplane twice in one day. You can do it. They do it all the time. Airliners do it all the time. That's the idea. SpaceX is making a 747 that flies into space. 747. That's the idea. They're trying to... SpaceX, if you listen to Elon, to the SpaceX web hosts, to anybody that works for SpaceX, they are constantly comparing this to a 747. They use metrics for 747. They use reusability numbers from the 747. They are trying to make an airliner that flies into space. That's what's going on here. It's ridiculous, man. When's the orbital attempt? I don't know. Sometime soon, TM. Do you think that the tiles would be a source of safety issues like they were on the space shuttle? No. No, not really. No, I don't think so. Not going to lie, that reminds me what happened to those promises regarding the shuttle 40 plus years of tech or so ago. That's true. One thing separates this from the shuttle, guys. You can fly it with no people on it. And I am parroting Elon Musk himself. You got to watch Tim Dodd's second video with Elon Musk when he interviews him at Starbase. Elon says that the big problem with the space shuttle is that they had to have people on it. They couldn't test the damn tiles. There was no way to get the tile design completely figured out and ready to go. They had to get it good enough and then send it. So they always ended up having problems with, not problems, they had adhesion problems with the tiles in the first parts of the space program. But you guys got to remember, it wasn't the tiles that doomed, STS-107. It was the reinforced carbon-carbon. And a lot of the reason why they had problems with tiles is because, well, there's two big SRBs and a giant external tank right next to them on the way up. This does not have that. Now, that doesn't mean that SpaceX won't have its problems. I'll be amazed if this thing makes it through re-entry. If this thing gets through re-entry on the first try, I'll be pretty shocked. That's going to be pretty damn impressive if it does. Now, why do I say that? Well, I'm looking at this tile design and I'm seeing stuff that I don't like all over the place. And I know I'm not a hypersonics guy too much, but I know enough about it to know that all these little gaps right there, that's going to cause a big problem during re-entry. But that's not saying that, SpaceX doesn't know what they're doing. They have no idea what they're doing. No, they made it this way on purpose. They did it this way because they have to get something up there and they have to get some data on how it works, and this is the quickest way to get that data. This is in no way reflective of the quality that SpaceX does as a company. This is get it done quickly so we can get some data on it and we can do a better version of the tile. Or not a better version. They installed these tiles fast. So Buran had tiles of some sort. How did they fare on its first flight? Fine. Just fine. And the shuttle design was basically fixed and it was hard to change it. That's right. SpaceX has the ability to do rapid prototyping. They can afford to send 4 or 5 of these up into space with different tile designs to get it right. So no, I don't think they're going to have problems with it. What I do think is that they'll lose a couple of starships during re-entry, but there's nobody on board. Who cares? Doesn't matter. If it's unmanned, it doesn't matter. It don't matter. In fact, another couple minutes, you're probably not even going to be matter. When does this launch again? I don't know, super user. Sometime this year. Sometime in October, November, December, something like that. Hopefully they get it off by the end of the year. There's still a lot of work to do. Buran only lost 8 tiles on the first flight, and Columbia lost about the same, actually. The tiles were never the source of the problem. The tiles did have problems with densification in the first part of the program. But the shuttle tiles were never the direct problem for re-entry. The tiles had adhesion problems because, they got hit with a piece of the external tank. And that wasn't even the tiles. That was the reinforced carbon-carbon. There was also STS-27 where a booster parachute mortar popped off early, and they did lose some tiles, but they did make it through. We almost lost Discovery on STS-27. It was close. So that was the space shuttle's Achilles heel. They had stuff hitting the booster hitting the TPS on the way up. That was the problem with that design. If you had to say there was one, I mean, if they had been able to do rapid prototyping, they could have gotten the foam sorted after a couple of rapid flights of dud space shuttle orbiters. Yeah, sure, no problem. And once again, that's why SpaceX has the benefit here. They'll be able to do this quickly. The booster ship 21 is already being made, guys. They're already working on it. It's slow, but they're working on it. STS-27 was Atlantis. Yeah, excuse me. Discovery was 26. Sorry. One lesson to learn from the shuttle program is always listen to your engineers. Well, obviously, I mean, if your engineer says it's not designed to do that and you go to launch it anyway, you deserve what you friggin' get. Which, unfortunately, we paid that price. That price was pretty heavy. But yeah. But when does Elon not? Elon is an engineer. So what is he going to do? Listen to himself? Trust me, this is I think that SpaceX will have this under control because they'll be able to throw a couple up into space, and if they blow up on reentry, whatever. All right, dude, I'll be pretty impressed if this thing makes it. I'll be pretty damn impressed. Could you imagine if SLS and Starship launch in the same month? That would be pretty awesome, Oridon. Yeah. Priority is on GSE 8 at the moment, so after that, I expect S21 to start stacking. Yep. Get the pad operational, Phil. That's been the big push. They switched gears completely in what was it, July? When did SN15 land? June? June. They switched gears completely. But, man, is this thing starting to look like a spaceship or what? It is cool. It'll make it through re-entry and fail on the landing. VY, you think it'll make it? I don't know, man. See these little ridges right there? All those ridges is inviting a way to get plasma to go where you don't want it. Here, let me explain. So, say you have the bottom of Starship right here, okay? And you have your tiles, right? You have your tiles. Say you have one that's placed a little bit crooked and it's like this, okay? Just bear with me. This is exaggerated, right? The plasma is going to come down through here, right? It's going to come in here like this. And if it hits that edge right there, guess where it's going? It's going up. It's going this way. It's inviting plasma to hit the stainless steel. All those little tiny pieces. I mean, once again, that's super exaggerated. But even a little bit of a change like that little gap right there is inviting plasma to go where you do not want it. You do not want plasma in between the tiles. That stuff, yeah, that's what I mean. Those little, see them, you can see them right there. See these little edges right there? That's no good. But once again, that's not a reflection of SpaceX's craftsmanship. They're able to do rapid prototyping, and this is the first attempt. I'm not expecting it to be super perfect, even though the tiles on that wing look pretty damn perfect, I must say. I think they'll get 100% success. Well, T-Man, yeah, good for you. I hope, dude, I hope they do too. I'm telling you, I'll be impressed if this thing makes it. I'm not doubting, and I'm not hating by any means. It's a first attempt, you know. Yeah, these tiles look clutch. That looks real nice. The wing is also flat. True that. Yep. When did this get flappers? 20? Oh, it's had flappers for a little while. Yeah. My question is how you'd get good data on the failure modes on re-entry. Just pick up the pieces and hope the flight recorder survives? Cameras everywhere. Infrared. And the Pacific testing range SpaceX is probably going to pay them to image it. I'll bet you they do. That's what they did. That's what they did with Columbia on STS-1. The Air Force looked at it to assess the tile situation. How did they look at it? Telescopes and other means. There most likely will be a WB-57 in the area. I would say that would probably be a good bet. Yeah. Do the tiles expand with heat? No, not really. Maybe a little bit. Ooh, what's this? A couple of high-res shots of Starship 20's nose. This is coming from Starship Gazer. Marine Corvette and his cameras. Humans must become multiplanetary as soon as possible. Yes. All right. Man, these pictures are amazing. Oh. Yeah, see this little stuff. That little thing right there. That's no good. That's going to cause problems. But I'd say for a first attempt, this does look pretty damn uniform, which is pretty impressive, dude. This is pretty coggers right there. I love this. This screams space shuttle to me, and it makes me so happy. Why is that one tile red? I'm not 100% sure, to be honest with you. Chat, anybody know? What is this? What is this residue up here? There's some of it up at the top as well. It's adhesive. Yeah, paintballs? Yeah. It's the glue. Yep, okay. I mean, guys, this isn't bad for a first attempt at a tiling system, I'll be honest with you. But there are some cracks. See, stuff like that, I'm not sure how that's going to work. Stuff like this makes the tiles want to pop off. Chewing gum, maybe. Yeah, see, stuff like that. That's what makes tiles want to pop off. That's what damages them. But I think SpaceX, through their rapid prototyping, will be able to figure it out. Yeah, I'm not worried. I mean, dude, look, I'm picking out bits and pieces here with the quality here on the first attempt, but some of these are really, really well done for the first time. Like, look at right here. That's perfect. Those tiles are perfect. Look at that. They're all uniform. Perfectly uniform. This is great for a first attempt. I'm serious. They did a real good job here. A lot of these are really, 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 really well done, especially on the wings. Look at that. Oh, those tiles are immaculate. There's like a couple of things here and there, but that's real good for a first attempt. And here, make sure we go and support the guy that took the pictures, okay? Yeah, they look real good. It's great how these all came from Oklahoma. What? Do you think they'll access the hard points up top to tile them after it's stacked? Yeah, maybe on the first attempt. Yep. Okay. SpaceX might want to know what's the worst condition. That's what. Yeah. Well, on Friday, yeah, probably. They probably want to check that out. That's why, dude. Once again, I don't think that's a measurement of SpaceX's craftsmanship. Those tiles are all crooked because they intended them to be like that, or they're just trying to do it quick so they can do it again. Do you have Discord? Exclamation point Discord, dude. So why doesn't NASA just send a rocket to test every once in a while like SpaceX? NASA doesn't use the same type of testing criteria, Ryan, that SpaceX does. NASA's get it right on the first try, which is very difficult. That's why they go slow. Get it right on the first try. I wonder how they'll access those tiles, though. I picture more service access gantries on the tower in the future. Service gantries would be a little bit difficult to do, Motorkid, because the trolley is in the way. Why don't you just put a service gantry on the trolley? Well, no, then you're going to get in the way during landing. Yeah, it's going to be a difficult thing to do. Okay. Pretty much silly. NASA can't be seen failing like that, which is really annoying. You know, it's funny. No, you know what? Never mind. I'm not going to say that. You know, the gist of it was, you know, that you don't understand that, you know, if something blows up down here, that's not necessarily a bad thing. That's just, you know, if you're testing a prototype down here and it doesn't work, you know, that's just that's one less way that the capsule will go wrong or the spacecraft or whatever will go wrong when you send it up there. Failing down here is not a bad thing, but some people don't understand that. They look at that and they think it's a zero-sum game because they're idiots. and they say, oh, well, it blew up. It blew up. That's bad, right? Like, you know, they're trying to write a novel with a damn paintbrush. It's just, no, it blew up. Blowing up is bad. Just like what everybody said after Almost 6. Oh, the SpaceX's rocket exploded on the pad. Therefore, Falcon 9 is a bad vehicle. Like, it's just, dude, shut up. You literally have no clue what you're saying. SN8 crashed on landing. Starship is not good. It's like, oh my god, man. Forrest Gump is... You know what? I don't even know why I'm doing a Forrest Gump impression. Even Forrest Gump would understand that. He would understand that that's the way to do things. That's why I understand the web delay. Yeah, railroad scope creep is James Webb's problem. $10 billion. $10 billion over, like, 15 years. 10 billion. Man, I hope we get some good science from that thing. It better not break. That's all I'm saying. That thing better stay in one piece or else I'm going to be pissed. I'm not a smart man, but I know what iterative testing is. Gump! Why did we blow up that rocket? Because you wanted to, Drill Sergeant? Congratulations, Gump! You must have an IQ of 160! I'll see myself out. Sleep is a hell of a drug. Take care. Alright. Gump, why did you disassemble that rifle so quickly? Because you told me to, Drill Sergeant. Congratulations, Gump. That's the smartest thing I ever heard anybody say. You must have an IQ of 160. That's the best. Is that Forrest Gump or Bill Nelson? No, Bill Nelson's accent is a little bit different. Forrest Gump is Louisiana, and Bill Nelson's accent is very, very old school Florida man. Yes. Thanks, Liam. Yeah. Any idea how close you are to the big SSDO operations again? We're sitting at 500K, King. We need about another 500. Oh, yeah, that's right. Alabama, not Louisiana. That's what I think. I think that it's actually from Greenbow, Alabama. You're right. Yeah, I guess. There you go. Alright, what time is it? 7:30. For 7:15. Okay. That's gonna do it for Space News. I had a feeling the Space News would go a little bit long today, but here I'm gonna leave you with this picture. Take a look. That's nice. It's starting to look like a spaceship, guys. Starting to look like a spaceship. That's pretty cool. You can do all kinds of things with Starship.